Goodbye and welcome to I Need a Hobby, a podcast. I am this week's host, Chris, and to my left, he's leaving the podcast due to creative differences after 105 episodes, Andrew.
Hello.
And to my right, he's leaving the podcast to start a new one with his girlfriend, Yoko Ono, Alex.
Hello.
How you guys doing?
Pretty good. I'm upset that you started the podcast with goodbye.
Yeah, it's kind
This
of
is
a bummer.
bumming me out.
Yeah,
Been more than 105 too. Well, actually,
lost count.
if you we have had some miscounting, as you guys remember.
People don't know.
let the fans
One of the
know.
toughest things about doing a podcast is keeping count.
So I think
we
maybe
only have so many fingers and toes. in one
Maybe it
stop,
is 105.
Three of us.
Yeah.
it's okay.
Did you purposely crack that can in front of the mic? So you would
Yes.
pick up? Nice.
Sick.
I don't know if it worked.
We're
but yes.
celebrating here today, guys.
Yes.
Yep.
The other day I
The
was
last episode of all time.
I was sending
Not
like
really.
a voice message. You guys ever done that? Like on WhatsApp or something?
No.
Sending a voice message.
Yeah, like,
oh, like
speaking.
Speak to text.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I was sending a voice message and like I was driving and some guy just like slammed on the horn and I was just like, oh, sorry. And then I like listened back to the whole thing and it was so bad. It's just
good.
like, and then I like said like, oh, I think someone just honked at me. And like the whole message is so funny. It's just like, clearly I must have been doing something so stupid.
That's fine.
Anyway.
I feel like you can work that into like a Adam Sandler movie or something.
Yeah.
Like he's in the house texting his wife. The kids are making a racket. The dog's doing something crazy.
Of course.
He's yelling at them. It's in his beautiful love letter to his wife that he's about to send. They get a divorce. This is
Yeah.
a great movie.
They realize he's a terrible person.
You lost me.
Yeah.
That text that he's sending.
What text?
Never mind.
Well, we're losing these listeners. What is this podcast really all about? This podcast, I Need a Hobby.
Tell
every
me
week,
after.
We about the podcast. Every week at I Need a Hobby, we talk about a new challenge, hobby, or activity. We're three young kids working the 9 to 5, trying to make the most out of the 5 to 9.
Yep.
And today's kind of like one of those full circle, a fitting episode.
Yeah. If people
Yeah.
didn't think this would be the last of our weekly content, they were sorely mistaken.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How could you not
Soon
see
to be the
this
last of
coming?
our yearly content.
Well, it would have been a good one to like go out on to like let people down, like.
Episode 1.
No, I'm
The
trying to
Beach
think of like
3.
or like just like a random like this week we do like rollerblade.
It would be fun to like start a series like this week. Every week from now on, we're gonna do a different genre, and then we just do one and end the podcast
Yeah.
forever.
Yeah.
We realize how much work it would actually be.
But what's the truth? What
We ran out of hobbies to do, so we're
I
finishing
said
the
that last
podcast.
episode.
We reached our cap.
the truth is, Alex and I are locked in. Well, not officially, but basically officially,
Pretty
right?
much,
We
yeah.
just haven't signed a lease,
Mm.
but we will be living in Brooklyn.
In
And
5 days or so, something like that.
yeah, soon. From
Pretty
when the
much,
podcast is out, yeah, basically under a week.
It would be a tough commute for the podcast.
Sure.
Yeah, it'd be tough for Chris to commute. It
Yeah.
would be,
No, you guys would always. Come
we
back.
did
would-
expect
yeah.
him to
You'd have
do
to
it.
come back to the studio.
Yeah.
And we did offer to pay for Chris's gas money, and he still wouldn't do it.
What
so
if we
that
met
was
in
kind of
somewhere
annoying.
like middle Connecticut town? Yeah.
Yeah. Just go to my house.
Would be pretty funny. We
That would
won't
be
have
fun.
cars, so
That's true.
we'll have to.
Uber.
You know what? Let's just. You know what? I have a better idea.
What if
you
we-
come to us,
Mm-hmm.
and then we'll just take a bus back to where you're from,
Gotcha.
and we can record on the bus. So that way you already
and
are
then you take the
back,
bus,
and we'll
back.
take the bus
Yeah.
back,
and you'll
then
edit.
Alex will drive your car back to you.
True.
While I am uploading the episode, and then Alex will then take the bus back.
And then I'm probably just taking an Uber. Like,
no, you're
already back.
yeah. Well,
because I'll be drunk. I can't drive.
right.
This is a
what
lot
if-
of work.
What if, serious question, what if we get an email tomorrow night?
Mhm.
Squarespace.
Mm-hmm.
Or Harry's Razors.
The
Or
reason we've been doing this for
another
2 years.
famous podcast sponsorship.
I'll give you
Guys,
$1 million for
yeah,
that podcast.
We're giving you $3 million,
Yeah.
$4 million,
Wow.
one for each podcaster, one for the producer for fun.
Sure. Shout out Todd.
What would we do?
I
I think we'd be snookered.
no, we'd be all right. I think
Millions of dollars, I'd probably quit my job. Move to New York
Oh,
and
yeah.
start fresh.
All right, that's fair.
Thanks, Chris.
I also would hope you would.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
No, well, what we could do, which will definitely occur at some point,
And Harry's, if you are listening.
perhaps not weekly content, but I do want to look into, because we can easily
Remote recording.
you and I, Alex, will be in the same place. It'll be very easy for us to record like this, and we'll just get Chris on a nice little video call.
Yeah, we'll figure something out.
And
don't tell the fans the secret. They don't want to know how the sausage is made.
Even though that's what this episode's
that's
kind
what
of
the
about.
episode's about. But I think we'll be able to do some some stuff like that.
Yeah, we'll figure it out.
However-
we're gonna
Yeah.
take a indefinite break.
Yeah, to find ourselves.
Yeah, to find ourselves.
to find ourselves. Yeah.
I'm staying here, but I still
basically
We're gonna
like
do some-
what-
So
here's
much
what I
about
would
me I
say.
don't
Soul
know.
searching.
Let me know if you guys agree with this.
Do I even like hobbies?
When the podcast returns in whatever form it
Mm-hmm.
does, it probably will not be about weekly hobbies. I
Definitely
guess
not,
is
yeah.
what that part is
Yeah.
coming to an end.
Mm-hmm.
I think we can all agree.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I know. Like, what would we name each episode? Juggling 2. We just talk about our
all
new
the,
jobs.
all the lives
Yeah.
we're juggling. All the
Yeah, ooh,
That's
new
I would
stuff
say
we're juggling in our lives.
that has been an easy thing about the podcast is naming it. We kind of
Mhm.
figured it
it's
out. You know
easy.
what I mean?
Yeah. The Beach 1, the Beach 2,
Right,
right there.
clearly,
2 episodes
clearly.
named.
Yeah, I don't know what we'll do for names.
Like to name each episode.
but
That's
hey,
okay. We'll figure it
the
out.
loyal
Yeah.
fans, they'll take anything. We could
Seriously.
name it,
A bunch of cuss words.
yeah, cuss words,
Just call it a pile of crap.
true conspiracy theories.
You're an idiot if you click on this and listen. This will listen. Those idiots
Yeah.
that
Yeah.
listen to us.
Mm.
Well, before we start, I want to give you guys a little gift, a little send-off present.
Oh no.
1 second.
Oh, Chris is reaching in his bag. Oh, it says Panera
A,
bread.
a true gift, not
Uh-oh.
a gag gift of any sort. But you guys are moving to Brooklyn. Thought it'd be a nice little. I always think it'd be cool to have like
Alex is opening the gift.
a coffee table book, a nice little reader.
Oh, look at this.
Look at this.
This is for me only, right? Not
Yeah, it's for
Andrew.
Alex.
What is it?
It's for both of you.
What does this say? Folders?
Yeah, Voters Brooklyn.
Brooklyn.
Just tips and tricks, things to do in
You want me to
Brooklyn.
read it?
Folgers, like the coffee.
Folgers.
Soldiers, yeah.
Oh, Folgers.
It's Brooklyn blend. It's
Yeah.
it's
Oh,
a coffee.
cool, Chris.
But a nice little, just some.
I'll read the
That's not
blurb. I'll read the
book
blurb.
So, yes, you
Brooklyn
read
is
us
the
in
most.
back.
This is all right. They better be paying us for this podcast.
Yeah.
Brooklyn is the most talked about trend-setting destination in the world, and Folgers Brooklyn, not really Folgers, is the only guidebook you need to fully explore the diverse borough of New York City.
Sounds fun.
That
There's
is
more,
good.
but
Yeah.
we can read it later. It's
yeah.
great, Chris.
Yeah,
Thanks,
no
Chris.
problem,
Appreciate
no problem.
That'll be good to have.
Yeah,
Definitely.
this is nice. What does it say about starting or continuing a podcast?
Yeah, I was hoping there was a section of that. Local studios, maybe.
Now, I was wondering, Andrew, I brought,
Yeah.
Chris got us a book. I brought beer to the podcast to celebrate. And you? And you?
I have a great segment.
Oh,
later
yeah.
on.
This segment. This segment.
A
you keep
surprise
talking about.
segment. No, just kidding. I actually baked you guys some scones.
Ooh, I would love that.
No,
That'd be great.
hardcore listeners would know.
Yeah.
I hate scones.
Yeah, me and
well,
Chris
that's
are
not
scone
true.
fans.
Unless they're Chris.
Don't like pie.
Or soup. if I
No.
recall.
Yes.
Do you
Hey.
think people that don't know us that listen to the podcast have these weird character ideas of us?
I'm sure.
Like,
what we
Andrew,
look
he's the one who doesn't like scones or soup
Mm-hmm.
It's. I mean.
and doesn't bring things to the podcast.
I mean. I guess I know you guys pretty well, but when I listen to our episodes, it's so obvious for me. Like who is who? Who is which person? You know what I
Right.
mean? Not like who's Chris and who's Alex, but which personality we each represent.
Mm-hmm.
Insanely obvious.
Yeah.
I think
Sure.
if you've listened to enough, you have a good idea of that by now.
I'm kind of the cool guy. I'm kind of the badass of the podcast.
No real badass has ever said that, Chris.
Yeah, except for me. That's how you know I'm a
You
real
know what?
badass.
I'm the
Point made.
trendsetter of the podcast.
All right.
So what's this podcast about? This episode, we're talking podcasting.
Yep.
Pretty
a true,
good.
A true hobby of ours, I'd say.
I'd say
no kidding.
I'd say
occupation, technically.
I'd say in my top 3 hobbies of the last couple of years, probably.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I agree.
Weird to say.
I think
No,
this
it's not
is-
weird to say. If
Just funny to say, I guess, because we got into it for the hobbies and what has become our biggest hobby.
I think it's in my top 2 hobbies.
yeah,
Yeah.
maybe number 1.
Oh, come on.
it's
not go
it's
crazy.
close.
Yeah.
I think the thing about, well, I guess we'll save it for later for ratings, obviously. But the thing that's great about podcasting is just it's basically like therapy for us.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Like what's on your mind segment?
It's funny-
more or less like
It's funny 'cause-
this insane thing happened to me, which often happens to other people, and they got no one to tell them about.
Yeah, it's
it,
great.
you know?
That is nice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I like the idea of a therapist listening to our podcast and you saying it's like therapy, and they're like, they don't understand how much therapy they need if they're talking
Yeah,
like
that's
this.
True. That's true.
But I agree with that. It's nice to like we've had instances where we get to the what's on your mind part, and it's like, you guys won't believe what happened to me today.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
So
it's just
exciting.
great to talk about it.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
I'm not going to find a stranger on the street to talk about.
And sometimes like you guys will come in and say like, "Oh, I got something to talk about at the top,"
Yeah.
or "Oh,
Yeah,
I got
exciting.
a great what's on your mind."
I got
and it's
this
just-
book called Folders Brooklyn. I got to tell you guys
Yeah.
about it.
And I'd say too, I think another big thing about podcasting as a hobby that we've had is it's just once you kind of get into the working world, you have your 9 to 5,
Mhm.
but it's hard to have a lot of people don't have anything else that's a weekly
See,
thing.
this
You know what I
is-
mean?
Well,
I
that's
think-
just general. Go ahead, Alex.
I was going to say that's calming me about this move.
Yeah.
you know, you get like anxiety when you move, or
Yeah.
whatever. It's like a scary thing sometimes.
Hey, listen to episode 41, moving. If you're
Yeah.
if you're going through a move today,
Like
I have to listen.
once
to
we're
it
in
right
New
now.
York, you know, you got the hustle, you got the bustle.
Mhm.
It's a lot to take in.
Mhm.
It's always good to know, like, oh, I'll wake up tomorrow and it'll be like this podcast that I listen to.
Yeah, that's
they'll
true.
still be like life still goes on.
Yeah.
And like it's weird that like podcast is marking that for me, but
that
it's
is
true,
kind
it
of true. Yeah,
Listening it, yeah. That's
just
that's
like a
really
consistent
Same thing
thing.
with like TV shows. People are like that. If you watch like a weekly TV show, like, but for us, it's podcasts. And
What I was
just-
going to
it's
say is
comforting.
like I feel that about the mission statement, if you will, of our podcast,
Mhm.
challenges, hobbies, and activities. Like Chris was saying, a lot of people that are going through everyday work don't have a lot of time for that. But we've
Mhm.
been able to basically force ourselves to do some things we're
Yeah.
not comfortable with,
Right.
which is great. I
Definitely.
mean, that in itself makes everything worth it, really.
Yeah, I think so.
I mean, we had it like, yeah, I don't know. I know, Alex, you were the one to come up with the name,
Yeah.
but
oh please,
the idea is to slam dunk. Like,
Yeah, I think
truthfully.
it worked out really well
It was a
I
ton of fun.
Yeah, so let's start from the beginning. So I think you had the idea originally, Andrew, to start this podcast.
I wanted to start a podcast.
not this, yeah, but to do a
with
podcast.
you guys.
podcast.
I think at this
specifically.
point we've been friends for a couple of years. I guess
More than that. We've been
4 or
friends for like 5
6
years. Yeah.
I've known Andrew for longer,
Mhm.
but
All right.
we all listen to podcasts. We all listen to podcasts. What made you think let's do this?
I want to start out. When did you start listening to podcasts?
I
feel like
started
we
listening to Survivor podcasts maybe my freshman year of college.
I feel like we
But that was
started.
it.
We started this podcast like weeks before the podcast boom.
I
in
agree,
America.
Yeah. And we were probably all listening to podcasts our senior year of college. I expanded more then, but mostly because of you guys were talking about
I
podcast
think
listening.
I started
You started early.
like junior year of high school.
Really?
Because I know I started listening to podcasts because it was like one time we hung out and you're like, oh, you should listen to like this.
Yeah.
or that. And
I remember that as well, maybe later. Because I think you guys were both listening before me. It was probably, I guess, to get years on it, I would say that I was listening. I started listening to Survivor podcasts in 2012, and then I started listening to other podcasts in 2015, maybe late 20. No, you know what? I might. Jeez, no.
Don't
late,
think I listen to
Late
podcasts.
2015. Late
What's a
2015.
podcast?
That was
Yeah,
it.
I
Late
was about to
2015. I used to listen to "If I Were You" by Jake and Amir.
Yeah, that was
on
my first
bike
one.
rides.
Yep.
And it was inspiring. Like every bike
Yeah.
ride, I'd go out for a bike ride at my school, throw them on, and it was just fun. Like I think that's what you're saying,
Yep.
Alex. You have this consistency that it was quite nice for a while.
Yeah, something you could look forward to.
Exactly.
Yeah, I think I was thinking at the end of this, maybe we do a shout out to other podcasts. You know,
Sure.
something to fill this gap in people's lives for a little while.
Do you guys think you could ever start a solo podcast? You know how some people have
Jeez.
those.
I think that's
That's stressful.
no. I think that's too much.
I think
could
that's
see
too much,
I
too.
could see doing a solo one with guests, which isn't quite a solo one, but you know,
Yeah,
what I mean?
I'm
But,
talking like
like,
Bill Burr does
yeah,
like a solo
he just
podcast.
talks for an hour a week.
I
Yeah.
can't imagine doing that.
I think-
That's a lot.
But I think the challenge with that is it's so easy to have a conversation, basically. But talking
Yeah.
to yourself is really unnatural
yeah,
in general. So
but some people are like that. I think some
Yeah.
people could just go on and he's like a
Definitely.
rant
he's
kind
he's,
of guy.
he's a
so-
rant-
he's also a stand-up comedian.
Yeah,
so
that's
Yeah.
true.
yeah, it's a little easier for him to get viewers and stuff or listeners.
So let's think. So you pitched doing a podcast like
pitched
at the
doing
end
a
of senior
podcast
year of college.
around 2016 spring.
We all said no instantly.
It's so funny because looking back on it, I don't really remember all the nitty gritty. Like I just remember us hanging out and being like, we should do this. And I remember you guys being down. And I really don't like saying I'll do something and not doing it. So
Yeah.
I got to a point where I was like, yeah, I don't really know what we'll do, but this seems like a good idea. And yeah, as weird as it is to say, it did feel like we got in right before, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like when we were talking
The
about making a
podcast boom.
podcast, it was not like everyone was making a podcast. So truthfully, I think if it was at that point, I would have been less interested.
Because now there are like memes around like every guy in their 20s has a podcast
Yeah,
or whatever.
Yeah.
And it really wasn't like that. I mean, I guess it was, but it just
And
wasn't.
the other thing
it wasn't a meme
with
yet.
those,
At least
with
not in
the
our group. Like
memes-
no one in my circle.
Yeah,
A lot of my friends didn't know what a podcast was.
Yeah.
right. Like no, I still
Yeah.
like the people that listen to podcasts will know that it's a huge like market
Yeah.
and they'll listen to a bunch. But the people that don't like
I have no
it's
idea.
so weird. They don't understand podcasts at
Yeah,
all.
for sure.
So we looked like idiots when we were starting our podcast.
Yeah, that was fun. So I guess the start, I remember we met at Chris's house, his
Yeah, I
parents'
remember-
house, which is not It's crazy. Like it's
So
just-
much has changed.
Just 2
My
years.
parents sold
but
the
yeah.
Now
house.
it's been demolished.
Yeah.
It's a
Streets of
landmark.
Grand.
Yeah.
Crazy.
I Need a Hobby started here.
It's a museum.
And then I remember we couldn't quite get the idea, but we
Yeah.
just knew that like
We must have been
we'd
getting
be
close
all right.
there.
Because
We
I
were-
remember
we were
we
getting
each like
close.
I feel like we each pitched a few things. I remember one of my early ideas was that we just corner of like very specific market, like
Yeah.
pick a reality show and just
Yeah,
be
yeah.
Which
the
is a good
leading
idea.
experts.
There
Which
are
I-
well.
podcasts about that.
Yeah.
now, like the
It-
Gilmore Guys.
yeah,
ones,
which is
like-
one of the most popular ones on.
Yeah.
on
I think that
iTunes.
would have been a good idea for like. It probably would have been less fun for
Exactly,
us, but
yeah.
it could have been like more of a like.
Yeah, it's
staple.
like I think
don't
we
know.
could have made it fun, but
I
yeah,
think
you're right.
The
This
thing we
is-
knew was that like it's gonna be good. It's not gonna be good, but it's gonna be like whatever it's gonna be with just us three talking about whatever. So we just had to
Exactly.
pick something that was like
That's why
easy
I
enough
actually
to like
remember.
bust
I
out
think,
a bunch
I
of
think
episodes.
I came up with the idea for what's on your mind because basically what I said, like I wanted to talk about
Yeah.
stupid things, and like I've known both of you guys for
Yeah,
so long,
'cause
and there's
yeah.
just been like I don't know, like I have memories of like Chris being like, oh, this guy from high school, like this blah blah blah, you know, just some
Yeah.
like really dumb thing, but it's like so funny at the time.
Because
And
I feel like that's
like,
how I spent my like ages 15 to 22 was like every weekend night just sitting in a room with my friends like talking like about
Yeah.
stupid things
Get
like
a
that.
load of this.
yeah,
and it's-
basically.
Hey, what do
I
you
mean-
think about this business idea?
And it's honestly like my favorite thing to do. You know?
And I've
So-
heard multiple people have told me that their favorite part of the podcast is the first 15 minutes, which is like great to hear because we made that change in season
because
2.
it's the
Yeah.
kind of thing too where we were like,
I agree. That's my favorite.
because
part
I think
as well.
early on we're like, well, maybe we just do like a different thing every week, and or like maybe we just talk. But like I think you need some sort of
it's a
angle.
little structure.
If you're thinking
You
about
need
starting a
structure,
podcast, yeah, just start with something.
because
You just
honestly, even
you
when
need
I-
to be able to describe it. You know,
right. Even when I listen to podcasts, if there are certain podcasts that will like start the recording and not know what they're going to talk about, and then they'll just talk for the whole time, and they'll name their podcast like whatever they talked about, and it's not
Yeah.
as enjoying to listen to
Yeah.
because it's like a bunch of like rambling.
Yeah.
You need like a little bit of structure. Even the podcasts that have a structure and they go off of it, I think are better than just.
I mean,
Definitely.
that is
Rambling.
basically
That's
our
us, yeah.
podcast.
Yeah,
Yeah,
for sure.
But I agree with that. I think that we did a really good job, like, of I don't know. It was kind of just like we all agreed one day. All right, we're gonna do this, and we have. I think I mentioned it this episode, maybe not though. That or maybe I didn't, but we have like episode 0, which
Yeah, we mentioned it at some point.
we're definitely gonna listen to it again. I feel like we could talk about it like in a future like update episode, but I feel like we should listen to it like soon, just to
Yeah.
like because I don't
because
want to
basically
release
it was
it yet. Cause,
so
like,
we were trying to figure out like the logistics of recording.
Like how to
Um,
actually record.
Which we'll get into if anyone's
Yeah.
curious. But we recorded ourselves literally just talking about like what it was going to be. Like at the
it was,
beginning,
it
I
was
don't
with,
think
like, it was like a
brainstorm.
boom mic,
Yeah,
not
at
a
the-
boom
yeah.
mic, but you know what I mean. It was
at the
like, it was a
beginning we like
speaker mic,
kind of
like,
had an idea, but we didn't have a name.
None of us had actual microphones. We just used like I think it was called Stereo Mix or something on a Windows computer, so you could just speak into the speaker.
I forgot you had a different computer when we started.
Yeah.
It was so bad.
Yeah, the
Yeah,
computer was
seriously.
really bad. Yeah. Anyway, and so we started with that, and that's like the whole episode is basically just
It's like
us.
brainstorming.
Yeah, it's us brainstorming, and I do remember a point in the episode where Alex says, "What about I need
Yeah.
a hobby?" Which is so
And
funny. Like,
I mean, honestly, it was a joke.
'Cause I remember,
it was
like-
the worst name I could come up with.
I think I was on my phone
These
looking up.
idiots thought it was a good.
Do you remember any of the other names?
yeah, you had a good one, Chris. It was already taken though by like classic
Oh,
2-episode wonder.
I forgot we were looking up all
Quarter Life Crisis.
Quarter Life Crisis.
That's
which
a
was
good
good.
name.
It was to market to like
That's
our
good.
Yeah.
age. It's a good name.
That is a good name.
It doesn't kind of missing
Doesn't
challenges,
pay-
hobbies, and
I think we
activities,
Doesn't
but-
pay the bills.
That's like that would have been like if we just did an episode on the What's on Your Mind section. Call that what Quarter Life Crisis.
Yeah. So, just did.
I remember,
just
and a
did
lot of it,
podcast.
I mean,
a lot of it
podcast,
was
yeah.
just us saying words. I was like, how you guys feel about endeavors?
yeah, basically, like
Uh,
but then I think around that time, or maybe even before, we narrowed down that we wanted to do
Hobbies,
challenges, and activities. Because
Activities came late. I remember.
Yeah.
Originally, it was just hobbies and challenges. we got to get a third one. in
One
there.
thing that's, like-
occupations. No, that's not. Gonna
it's
do it.
funny because like, what's the thing like? I guess what came first, the chicken or the egg? It's like sometimes I think like, are we like truly hobbyists because of our podcast, or were we like hobbyists that started
No.
a podcast? You know
I
what
think,
I mean?
I think we're. I know. I really think I've always been like a hobbyist.
I kind of
Yeah.
agree, and I
Into
think
certain
I know
things
Chris
and
has
going
too.
yeah,
along.
Like
definitely.
always in high school. Like remember Chris, like our ping pong tournaments.
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
It
We
was
always-
just like stupid things that
we
like,
always had stuff going
Chris
on.
and I would be like pretty good at.
Yeah.
like many things,
Jack of all trades.
Yeah,
kinda.
and it was like,
Master
but
of
we were never the best. Like we were just never the best. If we were great runners, we would have maybe continued that. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? We were just like
But I'd
We
rather
just
be
never
a
did it.
decent runner and a decent ping pong
Exactly.
player and
Like,
a decent podcast.
It was just always like that.
Rubik's Cube.
Like we play.
Yeah.
I mean, frisbee and running kind of go together, but there would just be certain things that we would do in high school, and it could be really like anything. I mean, we've done a ton of episodes. You could look back on some of them,
Yeah.
and it's just like it's kind of like we had familiarity
Just
with
like
it.
a weird.
You know what I mean?
It's a weird gene that like
Yeah.
some people
Some people have.
are just okay doing
Yeah.
a bunch of stuff. Some people get because I get like obsessed. If I'm into a hobby or whatever, I'll get obsessed for a while. But then I'll go on to another hobby and get obsessed with that.
Yeah.
So it's
I agree.
it's
That's
like
true.
But at the
I don't
same
know.
time, like it's really easy to go back and still have great
like,
memories.
I can
Yeah.
talk to people about I don't know
100 things.
Rubik's
Yeah.
I talked
Cubing.
about that
I haven't solved a
before.
Rubik's Cube in a few weeks,
Yeah.
but I could still like if someone was like, "Oh yeah, like do you use the Fredericks method?"
Yeah.
I'd be like heck
Yep.
yeah, like
I've talked about that, about how like I feel so cool for whatever reason personally, like when I can relate to someone about some stupid hobby. Well, no offense to the hardcore fans, but some hobby that I did.
like Bob Ross painting or
I
something.
wouldn't call Whole30 stupid, but that's like the best example of it. I think like anyone who's done Whole30, it's like a real connection right away
Yeah.
because it's like, oh,
Yeah.
did you have trouble with this, blah, 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 you know?
I think I told you guys this. I think I'm going to start it next week.
Yeah.
Our 1 year anniversary. I did it last year, starting on Labor Day. I'm going to do it
Yeah.
again.
Yeah, I
Very
will.
exciting.
Would like to do another
Yeah.
one, but not right now.
I'll do it eventually. Hopefully I'll do it this
But
year.
yeah, just like I mean, I'm trying to think of other examples where I've been able to just like cooking. I guess is another one where it's just like I got really into cooking and I was able to just like that was the first time I felt like I could hold my own in a
kitchen.
cooking conversation. You know.
Yeah. Here's
Yeah.
one question I want to ask you
beautiful.
guys. So we started the podcast probably July-ish, I think. When
It was August.
The first time we went in and did it. Were
Oh,
you like,
sorry. We actually the first recording I believe was in July.
Yeah. Were you like nervous? Like how like
No.
because I knew like we
Yeah,
had
I
a
think
rough
so.
like back in the day we used to like not stripped out things, but we spent more time like preparing.
Certainly had more
We spent
structure.
so much more time preparing.
Maybe not nervous. It's tough to say.
Well,
It's-
it was like this. It was like I knew it would be fine because I've had so many conversations with you guys, you know. But at the same time, it's just the same thing. Like
It felt different,
First
for
day
sure.
of your job,
Yeah,
right?
right.
Like,
Yeah.
okay,
You know you'll be able to
I'm
do it.
qualified for this. Like, I'll be all right. But like all of a sudden, like, oh man, like should I tuck in my shirt? You know, like,
Yeah.
well,
Yeah.
it's just like that.
Should I
Like,
zip up my fly? Oh god.
we
It's-
just didn't know exactly how it would go.
And it
I
took us a
guess.
couple tries, right? Like I think we recorded one.
Yeah,
where,
we're
like,
recording.
Okay, that was
what
fun.
did you call
but-
this one? Episode 0.5.
Yeah, running was so bad.
That
was
one
like
was
our
really
worst
bad.
episode
We
of all
did
time.
running episode 7, which was good. And then no, but I remember listening or recording episode 0.5 running scrapped. I remember thinking like this isn't good, and then I remember listening to it and being like this isn't terrible.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
I don't remember it being awful.
Yeah.
But it probably was.
I bet it was now if we listen to it, but that's the same thing.
It was
Yeah,
probably
right?
awful considering that we like spent like an hour before it talking about what we were going to talk
Yeah,
about.
exactly.
Now
what
it's
we
like
were
we
gonna
show
say.
up, I roll in.
Yeah.
I get handed the
Drunk
mic.
Oh,
book.
I got you this book. blah.
Here we go. What's this one on
It says, like,
podcast?
it says like Dallas. We're not even proving
Oh,
that.
shoot. Chugging the beer.
Yeah, because we used to like we were gonna say we used to have to like edit the episodes like a
lot,
ton.
yeah.
Yeah,
Like,
I'll be right back. There's this table that is like never changed, and I feel like there's some old scrap
Oh,
notes
yeah.
from
Yeah,
old
yeah,
yeah.
episodes.
Those
I'm
are
just
good
gonna take
notes.
a quick look.
But one thing I want to say, like, I think it's the kind of thing that's weird because I wanted some sort of like creative outlet. Like I remember
Yeah.
in high school we made like YouTube videos. I think we all did to some
Yeah.
extent. And then like in college, a few times I did like stand up comedy. Like I
Yeah.
like doing like little things like that.
Yeah.
And I was looking for that thing. And I think this was perfect
this
because
is
it's like
a perfect creative outlet.
one. Well, jeez.
Well, speaking of technical difficulties,
I think Andrew just
Andrew
knocked this whole.
We're
we've got
good,
we've
we're
got
good,
a
we're
huge
good, we're
setup. We got a desktop computer. We got a monitor.
There's a lot of wires.
Andrew
We'll
just
get to
knocked
that.
the whole thing over.
That's
What I
not
wanted to
true.
say though is I think this is a good way to do something like that because one, like I don't like my face being in things.
Yeah, I agree with
You know,
that.
this
too.
is nice because I can just hide in a basement and do
Right.
it.
I
don't know.
found some great.
Just
notes
being able to
here.
own it.
Yeah,
completely
it's just
nice.
it's once a week. We got structure to it, so it's
Definitely.
like
Yeah, I agree.
We're doing it
it's
once
a
a
classic
week.
thing. Basically, I mean, to toot our own horn here, our shirts support your local podcasts. Replace podcasts with anything, and that's what we're getting at.
See,
like,
all right, go on.
like
sorry.
basically, just like it's great to have some sort of creative outlet so that
Yeah.
you don't feel. It's just another way to like not feel kind of trapped in the 9 to 5, right?
Right.
You have a hobby, you have something
That's
that
exactly
you're
it.
that
A
you're
hobby.
working towards. Yeah, and for us, it was podcasting, basically.
To be honest, I think the
Mm-hmm.
support your local podcast shirts have gotten more and more important as podcasts get more and more popular.
Yeah.
Because nowadays,
I thought you were going to say with the political climate.
and that as well. Nowadays, you get on and people are like, "Oh, you listen to podcasts? What do you listen to?" And it's like Serial. Or it's like, what's another really popular one? This American Life.
Yeah.
It's all these ones that like everyone listens to, and it's got these celebrities doing it. Bill
Yeah.
Burr, for example.
Yeah.
Sure.
You got to support the small guys.
Yeah.
We've done 105 episodes. We don't even have a dang sponsor. You think this
Yeah.
is cheap?
Yeah,
It is cheap, but it's
It's not ridiculous.
it's not free.
It's the same thing though. It's like it's just like local artists, right? It's
Yeah, that's what I
like-
mean. But like when podcasts started, like in 2011, they were all local podcasts. They were all
Yeah.
small.
Yeah.
Nowadays, it's like you got to fight to have
You gotta
a
fight for a Harry's
podcast.
head.
Yeah, seriously.
Yeah. Ah, that is so cool.
Like
Yeah.
Spotify, we're on Spotify. Thank God. When Spotify started having podcasts,
Yeah.
they only took like the popular podcasts.
Because we tried to get on Spotify when we started and they wouldn't let us.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
annoying. That ruins podcasts. I
yeah.
think
Yeah.
that makes because to me, the podcasts that I like are like the ones that are just like us.
Similar to
it's
us.
just some random person. Like there was like that chess podcast that we listened to
Yeah,
when
that
we
one's
were on the
good.
chess one, and it was like these two random dudes basically, and there's no way it would ever make it into the top charts of podcasts. And Spotify should be welcoming
it's
these young
just
podcasts.
a classic thing. It's literally a classic thing. It's like being a celebrity or whatever. A podcast is just whatever. Like you're saying, at this point, so many people have podcasts. But
Right.
for us, we cared so much about it that we would take more time to like really try. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Chris, did I break your headphones?
Yeah, no, I don't think you broke it, but I realized that they're not plugged in. And I was like, I can't really hear myself. And I
Yeah.
looked
Yeah,
down and
it's-
was
I do
just
that.
Chris
swinging
is
around.
swinging his headphones around like he's like whistling.
That's funny. Wait, so what is that you
Skipping to
grabbed,
his
Andrew?
loo.
It looks good.
Uh,
You got a piece of paper?
What? Yeah. I did get this piece of paper. It is from. It's gonna sound like a joke because we always make fun of, but hey, why not? Episode
Beach?
4, The Beach.
It's
A
not
relic.
even on iTunes anymore. We realized.
Oh, true. Yeah.
really?
Yeah. We need to fix the website. My brother will do that, but the archive is like not working right now. But we'll get that fixed so you
Hey,
guys can
true fans
listen to
will know.
all your favorite episodes. But
That's
yeah,
true.
but we realized that iTunes caps our podcasts at 100. Maybe that's
Wow,
another
that's crazy.
local thing. Probably not. I think maybe they do that for everyone. But
That's
anyway,
not fair.
so
I don't think they do.
so it
think
only
it's
it
extra, yeah.
lets us have 100 right now. But once we fix the website, which will be soon, you can look at all the old episodes because it is archived on Libsyn, so
Right.
it'll work for that. Anyway, all right. So The Beach.
This is to add some context. Like we were saying, we used to script out the episodes. When we recorded The Beach, here's a little peek behind the curtain. We had recorded an
Oh,
episode
I forgot about this.
Well,
beforehand.
we talked. I mentioned we joked about this in Best of 2016. I think. Yeah.
Just unbelievably bad.
yeah.
It was the
like,
board
For
games.
sure, the worst episode we've done.
Like I think if I had a wife right now and she listened, she would divorce me on the spot.
God.
And then we're like, oh, we got to record a better one. Episode 4, The Beach.
basically, and
Yeah,
that's,
that's
how it came
that's
to
what
be.
the paper.
So this paper's it's Chris's. I guess I'll just read the whole thing. Good morning, America, and welcome to I Need a Hobby: a podcast.
Hell
Great
yeah.
start.
Yeah.
I remember Alex talked about that in episode 0. That it's like we need like a tagline. You know, it's like what about just a podcast?
Great.
You
So
know what
true.
else I remember?
Yeah, it's great.
Thinking about was the intros. I remember we were like, oh, what if we
Oh,
like
yeah.
introduce each other like like a funny way?
You said
Yeah.
that every
'Cause I
time.
remember
yeah.
thinking
We
it
didn't
was
really
like-
know what to do.
The Simpsons have like the couch gag, so like,
Yeah,
every
yeah,
episode is
new
something
song.
different. I was like,
Yeah.
what if we do something like that?
I think our
Clearly,
intro
it's
is
just as iconic
basically
as the
better
Simpsons
than
couch gag.
any podcast I listen to. You know what I mean? I mean, I'm just saying.
It's fun.
Okay.
I remember.
It's not.
Well, it's just it lightens the mood. You
Yeah,
know what I mean?
I think other podcasts do similar things.
I remember
so.
when you originally said that idea. I was thinking more of like a WWE, like
Yeah, I think
in
we all were
this corner.
at first.
And then
Because
it
I
just-
remember like the
yeah.
first ones we did were like weird like stats.
yeah,
And
yeah.
now it's
yeah.
like now we like tune it to the episode.
Chris said, "I'm this week's host, Chris. He's got a face for podcasts and a voice for silent film."
See, like
That's
Alex,
That was
Has not-
episode 4.
has
that
nothing
is some late game material. Very
has
good.
nothing to do with the beach.
Yeah.
But great introduction.
He's got a wallet full of Monopoly money. Andrew, I think this was Chris's intro from board games that he liked so much that he kept it for the beach. Nice job.
That's funny.
Then it says introduce podcast. Getting a phone call.
I'll
Sorry,
read it
guys.
from here on because you're a bad host, clearly. With your
Yeah.
thing on.
All right.
Introduce podcast. we all know how that goes. This is the first time we did the Amazon thing as well.
Yeah.
We had just gotten our Amazon.
.com/Amazon.
No, I think we had just.
I think this
got
is the one
denied.
that.
Yeah.
We did get denied. We got denied.
We got denied another small podcast.
Yeah.
We got denied
Yeah.
our Amazon
Yeah.
affiliate link,
That was
which
a tough week for us.
blows my mind because every single podcast has an Amazon affiliate link.
Well,
So
we got it eventually.
we ended up getting it.
Yeah.
We did a classic. This is true. Web jam of I Need a Hobby, the Ice Bucket Challenge bit.
Oh yeah. See this
which I honestly
episode.
still think is funny.
This
Yeah,
episode,
I
which we
agree.
came up with at like 11 p.m. after a failed episode,
Yeah.
we somehow had like 8
eight
scripted bits.
So when we,
But I think we
that was what
started
were saying.
board games
I think
with
you're
these
right, yeah.
same bits.
Oh, maybe.
Maybe not Ice Bucket Challenge though.
When we
Yeah.
were starting earlier on, we wanted to make every episode like unique, I guess. So that's why we had the Chris one with Chris didn't
The
like
slime.
synchronized swimming.
Oh, yeah.
the slime. That's
Yeah.
that. Oh man,
That was funny.
that's
still
funny.
Think that was
I still think that's
Like-
funny too.
Yeah.
Like, and it's cool, like looking back and it being like, in the end, like we all still think it's funny, right?
Yeah.
It's not the
See,
funniest thing ever,
this is-
but it's still great.
I think a lesson learned in this podcast. I remember after the beach came out.
Yeah,
I think it's a good episode.
Yeah.
Maybe not our best.
yeah,
it's a
for
good
sure.
episode.
It was
Some
also
say
like
the best.
it was
first-
like 37 minutes. So
Yeah.
but whatever.
The first episode, I remember where people were like, "Yeah, this was not good."
Yeah.
like, and that's why we stopped doing these like bits or whatever.
But the
Yeah.
thing is,
The
it was
pre-play
like
bits.
what one person probably said that.
probably like one person.
Yeah.
and we should have kept. We should have
Yeah,
kept going.
we
I
did.
don't know about
Even
that.
if they're not, I don't think we would have been doing it every episode. We still probably would have gotten to the point where we're like, oh, it's better when we just like
Yeah.
talk.
Yeah.
But we shouldn't just let one person who says
That's
they
true.
don't
I
like
agree.
it stop
I
us from
think
doing.
you know. I think it's a
what we
classic
think
thing
is
of
funny.
like it's like first month of school when you're really motivated. Like I was going to talk about this later.
You
but I'll
buy a
talk about it
planner.
now. When we got Bill Clinton on the podcast.
Oh yeah.
That's what
like,
I mean.
That
That
was
was
amazing.
great. You know
Alex
what I
paid
mean?
a guy $5 over the internet to talk like Bill Clinton.
No, it was actually Bill.
Yeah,
or
that's
you know,
cool.
it was
Charles Barkley.
Charles
I
Barkley.
remember when we were
That
playing
was so
the
funny.
Charles Barkley.
I was
which
so
must have been
excited.
episode 2.
Well,
or so?
that episode we actually scrapped for a while, and then we had recording trouble, so we put it out later.
It's like 17.
In fact,
maybe.
actually, I did just check right now. After we post this episode, iTunes will delete County Fairs, which is the
11.
Big E episode, which is a ton of fun.
No, it's
Well,
not.
a ton of fun recording and to go to with
Probably
you
our
guys,
lowest
but
rating.
probably our lowest rated
Collective.
collectively. And now, sorry, the most earliest will be that basketball episode, which
Like,
is our
I
second
gotta listen
ever
to that.
re-recorded.
Because I remember when we were planning that Charles Barkley bit and like finding the clips,
Yeah.
that was so funny.
Yeah.
Like
Mm-hmm.
he's a hilarious guy already. It was just hilarious. Like and like that doesn't happen anymore because we were told not to do these bits.
Well, it was
Yeah.
basically like the same thing. Like we were still finding our footing, and we really didn't
Right.
want to like f up. Basically,
Yeah.
like all right, let's get some people that will like us and
I
go
just
from
think
there. Basically,
if I was giving someone else tips starting
Mm-hmm.
a podcast,
Mm-hmm.
you have intuition. Like if we thought that was funny, we should have just kept doing it. Like
yeah,
or we shouldn't have let. No, I'm not saying keep doing it, but like don't let someone else say, oh, don't do it. If you think it's funny, do it.
Yeah.
You know?
Mhm.
For sure.
Because what if someone was like, "Oh, the what's on your mind section is boring."
Mhm.
That's my favorite part of the show.
There's no way we
Doing
would've
the what's on
changed
your
that,
mind. Like,
yeah.
there's no, exactly. There's no way I would have been like, we have to pander to these people that don't like our podcast.
yeah,
Mhm.
Listen to another podcast, you freaks. You know?
Yep.
yeah.
Yeah. Also, another weird thing on this list, it says "little girl
Story. Yeah. Chris's handwriting is so bad.
Yeah,
It's fine.
I do
Worth
remember the story because I want to tell a story about one time I was at the beach.
it. Go for it.
It's
Go
been
for
told. I think it's been told on the podcast.
I'll tell it quickly, but I saw
Tell it again.
I saw two grown big men throwing this little girl
I
back
do
and
remember
forth.
that.
Like she was having fun.
Yeah.
And then I told someone they're playing catch with a girl, and someo's like, "Chris, that's mean to say that you can play catch with a girl."
Chris, it's
And I was like,
2016.
no, they're throwing a girl. Oh, great story.
That's kind of funny. Actually.
Anyway, tough episode.
Yeah, I also
That's
like
an
Chris
episode
on
four
here.
joke.
You have BEACH
Yeah.
written vertically, like it's supposed to be one of those like acrostic poems, but
Didn't get
then
around to it.
nothing.
Just to fill up
written.
space.
Yeah.
It was a 37-minute episode. We had to
That's
find
true.
space
He
somewhere.
wrote sunburns, nothing to do, the ocean dash scary, and sandcastle spelled wrong. Nice.
See, that's an example of what we used to do. So,
Now,
for example,
yeah, we just roll up and
like this
know where we're
podcast or this episode, we could have been like, all right, let's talk about.
You know what? I actually remember running as like it was episode 7. I think that was one of the first ones where we like
yeah, like just do it.
we had plans. It was still like pretty heavily structured,
Right.
but it wasn't like we didn't write anything down. I think that was
Yeah,
like the first
I
time we
think
were just
you're right.
like, I think we can just talk about it. But I remember we said like we all divvied up. I remember saying there were certain things like that each of us wanted to
Yeah,
bring
yeah.
up, so we sorted that out. But that was it. Like that was the change. It was just
Yeah,
one
right.
word, and then whenever someone would be done,
And
we'd bring it
The
up.
thing is, there are podcasts out there that do really well with that same format. Like,
Mhm.
all right, we talked about this. Now let's get on to this. Talk about this for a bit. All right, now let's get on this. And it's a clear list they're following.
Mhm.
That's fine. But like, I feel like maybe it's because we're friends and we just have conversations regularly, so it's weird to like disrupt that.
Yeah, to make it
But like,
formal.
we definitely do better where it's just like, all right, let's just talk about whatever, and we'll structure it as we go.
Yeah,
you
and
know?
then occasionally be like, all right, let's get to ratings. You know?
Yep.
Right.
So it's just like I don't know when the conversation ends, but normally we would just like Chris was saying, we'd come in, we'd say, oh, you won't believe what happened to me today.
Yeah.
I'll save it for the pod.
Yeah.
Get going, and then wait 45 minutes, and then we'd
And
say
then we
it.
talk about it on the What's on Your Mind section.
Yeah.
Or do you mean wait 45 minutes because you take forever to start our podcast?
I guess both. Good one.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, another thing I wanted to say, I started saying before Andrew knocked over our whole setup
Yeah,
here,
sorry about that.
is the editing process. We used to
Yeah.
have like heavy editing.
Yeah.
I don't mean like sound effects and stuff, Charles Barkley.
Yeah.
I mean like we would cut out
Pause
dead,
it.
dead air.
I'll take some blame here.
We would we would have to put in the What's on Your Mind theme song
Yeah,
every time.
so basically the way we used to do it before we got this nice stereo mixer, I don't know when we got it now. It must be over a year old, at least, right? Probably a year.
I'll check my Amazon history because I think I ordered it.
Yeah. We had this thing called Voice Meter Banana, which I'm sure we've talked about before.
No, I don't blame you for Voice Meter Banana.
No, I know. I'm talking about the editing thing. Because remember how I was like, I need to edit it because
Yeah.
basically like I had a lot of experience with editing videos and like I knew how to do Audacity. And
You made one YouTube video called Balls for Lols. And
Yeah, it is good.
You thought you were a
Great
computer
video.
whiz.
but it was more that like, I guess it was more that like I didn't want you guys to,
I can't find my history. Sorry.
it's okay, to like take the time to learn how to edit because it isn't like
It's not
a
hard, though.
No, but it isn't. It's like I kind of felt like okay, I can do this, and like I just didn't want to like burden you, I guess. But then it got to a point where I was getting stressed out because I had to edit all the time,
Yeah.
and you guys were like, "Well, we can edit," and then I was like, "No, you can't edit." And then
But
just
it's
eventually
easy.
it was like,
Yeah,
It's like
yeah.
so easy. That's what I never understood.
It's
like,
intuitive. Like
'cause
so
then I
we
would start
used-
doing
I
it
think
and
I
be
was like,
am I
it
doing
was the
this
same
wrong?
thing. It was like first month of school. Like I was being really like perfectionist, and I wanted to make sure that it was good. Obviously,
Right.
like looking, it was like, I mean, think about 2 years ago. Like we were just starting out. I really wanted to make my
Yeah,
podcast
that's
right.
like.
And
I
I think
just-
I
what I'm
think when
saying
we
is-
started it too, it was good because like there were things that like I don't know, we would like pause for like
Yeah,
now we can just talk
In
for
the
an hour.
early
Yeah.
episodes, we sometimes had like we would just stop talking and then be like, all right, let's just cut this whole thing out and think about some more
Yeah,
stuff
yeah.
to say. I mean, this is like I'm talking like single digit episodes, like
The-
not much beyond that.
The
but
weird thing now is that Voice Meter. I know it's only been 2 years, but
Yeah.
Voice Meter Banana like is awful.
Yeah.
It
Yeah.
doesn't work. But there's
Wait,
It was
there's-
it was this free
basically,
software.
Yeah, it was
that we
a
used.
free software that we used to mix like 3 separate tracks of us speaking on different
Right.
mics into one track because Audacity can only handle like one input.
there's
But it
no
was
other way to
so
do
bad.
it. Still, there's no other way to do
Really?
it. We tried when we did the high school jobs episode.
Mhm.
We must have not had the mixer. I forget what happened. But
Oh yeah,
Might not have
yeah.
had a mic
yeah.
or
No, I don't
something.
think we did because Andrew was out of town. And
Yeah.
yeah.
yeah, either
Yeah,
way,
you
we
didn't have a
tried,
mixer,
and we
yeah,
had
sorry.
to like bootleg the whole episode. And
Yeah.
there was a point where like the software crashed.
It
Probably
always
because
crashed.
there was-
Remember that? Like I remember I would look down at Audacity and just see a flat line. I'm like, oh my god,
Yeah,
Voice
we
Meter
just lost the
crashed
last
again.
15 minutes.
Yeah,
But this is stuff that like 2016, like technology was fine. It's not like we're talking about 10 years
yeah,
ago.
Yeah.
yeah.
Like this is stuff that should have been happening
There
in the
was, like-
early days of.
I
I'm
remember
like,
there
like
was,
2005 podcast.
another audio interface besides Audacity that wasn't free but allowed for you to
I think, yeah.
have 3 separate tracks into one, which is basically all we were looking for.
But the beauty of podcasts is that it's like radio.
Yeah.
It's not expensive.
It shouldn't
Yeah.
be.
It should be a
We wanted to do it like low budget. Yeah.
yeah. It should be a low budget hobby. It's like ham radio.
Yeah.
You know.
So
But
then,
that's why it's annoying that you can't do 3 microphones.
but when we got the stereo mixer, like
Oh yeah, beautiful.
it was just awesome. I remember thinking like, oh, is it worth it? Like, because I think it was $200.
Yeah,
I
split
guess
3 ways.
yeah.
Remember we
I
got
think
the $150 one, which like didn't have like one
Yeah,
like,
small
one
feature
essential
that we
thing.
needed, and then we were like, so we had to return it.
I like how we're talking like
And it was so good.
The stereo mixer fixed all of our problems, but not last episode. I believe we had to stop the episode midway through because
Yeah.
I guess it wasn't the mixer, but we still had technical issues.
Oh yeah,
Yeah, I'd say if you're looking
That was your
into
computer,
if
though.
you're looking into starting a podcast, be ready for if you want like I don't know. There's going to be like technical issues. I feel like we ran into things
Oh yeah, no doubt.
early on a lot.
But that's the beauty
It got
of
less
it.
and less. But
It
hey,
is.
it
It's a
happens.
classic thing. Like I feel like another thing is like if you try to give someone relationship advice, like
Which we have done on this podcast.
the beauty is like you don't like here's one thing. Here's an example. I'd say I have held this opinion for a while. I think if you're in high school and you're going into college, I think you should be single because there's so much going on in college and it's going to be tough in general. And
Come on.
even if you can handle like a relationship with someone even if they're not at your school, whatever, it's still you're going to be limiting yourself a bit. So that's an opinion I have, right?
So you're saying you should, as a freshman, you should start a podcast because it'll get you more girls?
Yes, I am saying that. But the beauty of it is, if I'm telling you that right now, and you say, yeah, maybe, but I don't care, and I'm still gonna do it. That's great because you gotta just go for it.
You gotta learn for yourself.
That's exactly it.
The love of your life
so,
will break up with you for the local hunk.
Exactly. Dude, that hit really close. Just kidding. Anyway, so when you are starting a podcast, there's like so much stuff we can say, but it's just like that. It's like you got to learn for yourself.
Yeah.
There's so much that we had to learn, and we're so much better off. We're hardened, you know. It's like we have thick skin because we
Truly beautiful.
like now. If someone said now, like, oh yeah, I don't like the What's on Your Mind segment, or I don't like how you guys do this, or
like,
last episode you had technical problem, be like, yeah, sorry,
Get over it,
yeah.
sucker. You freak.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah. That's my rant.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree though. Like, as frustrating as it was to like have to restart every single episode we did because that stupid program crashed,
Yeah.
but built some charm into our podcast. But
Definitely.
for us, like looking back on it, like
Helped us get tough.
And that was
Yes,
another
yeah.
thing with the editing. So we used to edit the What's on Your Mind theme, the fan submitted themes. We used to edit those in.
have to put the theme song in separately.
Yeah.
It was like a process that took
we had to
a
put
long time.
the
A couple
theme song
hours.
in.
Yeah,
Yeah,
because you had to
at
listen to the whole episode.
you had to
through.
listen to it because we never marked like where the errors were. You
Right.
know?
Yeah.
I
So
know.
we just
I remember
have to
thinking
listen to the
like
whole thing.
like, oh, we should like start like at least writing down like
Yeah.
when the What's on Your Mind theme song comes in.
Yeah.
And just never happened. I don't
Yeah,
know, we just
we
never
did the
did.
classic. We used to do. Sometimes we still do it. If I guess occasionally with the mixer we would still stop on the What's on Your Mind if I was unable to get the link fast enough and I would mess up. But we started doing this thing where like because it would flatline for a bit, so to know like right when you want to cut up to, we would go like into the
Oh,
mic.
we still do
Oh,
that.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Oh,
Like,
yeah, I was
that
gonna
was
say.
like that's kind of just like
That's
a
like
funny
a
Just so you could
That's
see
like
like a little spike
dumb
in
That's like
story.
a new thing.
Yeah, it was like a little life hack to find out where you needed to.
I was gonna say
edit to.
if someone walked in on us podcasting right now,
Mm-hmm.
having this conversation, they would be like, "What are they talking about? This is like the most idiotic way to put up a podcast." They're
Yeah.
screaming into the microphone.
It worked, and yeah. So we used to edit in everything, and it took a lot longer, really.
Yeah.
We streamlined it.
But then, yeah,
Like
I
a
think
good business
it
does.
just got. I don't think maybe. Do you think there was a change in quality? I think at that point we were good enough at it that like you can't even notice.
I
Yeah.
agree. Yeah,
I'd hope.
People told me. I mean, like someone said. I remember that like vegan was like one of their favorite episodes, and I remember listening to it and being like, "This is a good episode," and
Yeah.
that was remote.
That was what I was
recorded.
gonna
Yeah,
say. I was
yeah.
just
That's
like-
one thing fans might not know is we recorded probably 10 or so
Yeah.
episodes,
Maybe
maybe
less.
less.
It was like
But
it was
all in
all
separate
around the same
places.
time.
But if there's anything that was a change of quality, like if vegan's good, it's good, no doubt. But it's so much easier to like get a flow
Yeah.
of a conversation going when you're
That's true.
having a well-timed conversation.
Because that's when we had to do some
delays.
heavy editing too to make it
Yeah,
sound
yeah.
a little bit
that's
more
what I'm saying
realistic.
for the future, Chris. Do you have WhatsApp or no?
No.
Yeah, this is an off
So
mic
what's
conversation.
that podcast?
Yeah, you get WhatsApp, and well, it's like Skype, except I'm not a Skype fan. I don't know if that is like a hot
This is
take
an
or
off.
anything.
This is an off mic conversation.
Whatever. I'm just saying you
What
get
about like
WhatsApp.
FaceTime?
Yeah, same thing.
What about texting?
FaceTime. Well, it's a tough podcast. But anyway,
Chris just comes in.
you get
with, like,
WhatsApp,
a
you get
computer
FaceTime,
voice.
and it's going to be a lot easier, I think.
Yeah.
But that's
Figure
you're
something
right.
out.
It is off
Yeah.
conversation.
I mean, there are podcasts out there that do every single episode remote
Mhm.
recording. The issue with us, a little peek behind the curtain for the loyal fans out there, we would have a 3-way call over the phone, which already builds delay into the phone call. 2-way call, almost no delay.
Yeah.
Yep.
3-way call, you get delay, and then we would each record separately
One track.
into a track, put
And
all the
everyone's
tracks
computer
together.
was like slightly off.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
So one, we would have to like
Oh,
the
man.
conversation was like say something to me.
Hi, Alex. How are you doing today?
Good.
Oh, hey, Chris.
Good.
Chris
good.
here.
Good. Where's Chris?
I'm the host.
Hey, Chris. It's like that's
Yeah.
not a joke. Like
Yeah.
that was actually pretty good. That's what it sounded like before the tracks
But
were
that's
even
not
put
that
together.
bad.
Yeah.
It's not that bad.
But it disrupts the flow of a conversation.
yeah, I
is
remember
what
that
I'm saying.
actually. And when I would edit those, I used to mute like little parts because of like
Yeah.
because it was
You would
it was
talk over
easy
each
to do that
other.
because you would talk over each other. So in that was an advantage of it is all the tracks were isolated, so you could mute
Right.
specific people.
But it still doesn't. It doesn't. You
It's
can't
not
create
cohesive,
a
yeah, for
smooth
sure.
conversation. Like if we talk over each other now, we just will. One of us will stop and the other will talk.
Yeah.
Yeah.
When you're talking over each other without realizing it, it's like, "Hey, what's up? Hey, what's up?" And then I said, "Oh, sorry, you go. You go." And then it's like it's so
When you're
Yeah,
in person-
that was
artificial.
really tough.
When you're in person, it's easy to just like look at, you
Yeah,
can talk
exactly.
because you
It's
can look
different.
at someone in the
Yeah.
eye. Yeah.
And then
Hey, one advantage of remote recording, you don't knock over the structure of
that's true.
That's true.
everyone's stuff.
And you don't
But
have to
on top
be
of
around
that,
these guys.
we would have to stack up 3 tracks,
Yeah.
somehow edit them, and there were episodes that were scrapped.
Yeah.
The NFL draft one.
Yeah.
There was
My
one
bad.
that
Yeah,
was
that's fine.
I don't remember which episode it was, but I remember Chris calling me up and being like,
Oh,
like,
yeah.
I don't know what
Minecraft.
happened. Like,
Yeah.
I remember this is the memory I was thinking of. Like, I remember that episode's pretty good.
we should
actually,
redo Minecraft.
Yeah.
Like Minecraft is something that
I agree.
I want us to be together having a real
I agree.
conversation
Yeah, that's true.
about.
Because that was a tough one because we didn't.
Chris didn't try. I
we-
remember. He died so easily.
Yeah,
but I'm just talking about,
we
like, the
we only played it
recording.
for like a week or two, and then the recording sucked. So it was like
Yeah.
that could have
Yeah.
been a great episode.
Yeah,
It
like
was-
Yeah.
it was still pretty
I mean
So-
more. I don't mean like the actual.
I
data.
remember
okay.
that it was like one of or both of somehow the audio was like synced up at the beginning and then it got ugly.
Right.
Yeah.
And I had to like. I remember I was up wicked late
Yeah.
just trying to
Yeah.
fix it.
'Cause I
and
was, it was like I was up till 11 trying.
yeah,
and,
and then you're like,
I can't do
Andrew,
this.
I'm so sorry. And I remember thinking like, this is part of it's exactly what I was saying. Like, it's like you make sacrifices. Like, I
Yeah.
was not upset at all. I was like, all right, like this sucks, but like, I care about the product, so I'm
Yeah.
gonna try hard to get this
See,
right.
I know that's
It's
truly beautiful.
it's beautiful.
But
Yeah, it's worth
remote
it.
recording, not with 3 people,
Not recommended.
not ideal.
Not recommended. Yeah. If you're gonna start a podcast, I would really recommend. I mean, yeah, my big tip would be to get like an audio interface basically that you can. We have this mixer that you can mix tracks into one because otherwise you're dealing with like
a lot easier.
Pure
shaky
chaos.
softwares that are tough and. Like this thing has been so reliable for us, other than the etiquette episode, which still have no idea what happened.
Yeah,
but,
something happened. We did one. A few
otherwise,
weeks ago.
it's been
messed
great.
up.
So
Yeah.
I think that's something essential if you're going to start a podcast.
Yep, I agree.
Should we get into your segment, Andrew?
Sure. All right, let me get my phone.
Yeah.
After that phone call, I shut it off.
Wait,
Wow.
hold on. Oh my God, that was from Squarespace.
Hello.
Go on,
Podcast is back on.
2 million?
Wait, there's a discount code. What? Hobby? Okay.
Somehow not taken. All right. Here's what I got. So I have, where is it?
What's the title of the section?
This section is called Greatest Hits. I need a hobby.
Greatest?
Greatest hits. Yes.
Greatest hits. The
Just very-
saddest moments
Very
of our
bland
podcast.
moments. Yeah.
All right. Greatest hits. Just some stuff that I remember.
Nice.
First one. I'm just gonna go through a list. We can just
Yep.
It's kind of like
It's a lightning
it's
round.
like that Rorschach ink test or
Yeah.
whatever. It's like
Sure.
first thing you see.
Yeah.
What do you think?
Yeah.
Pokemon. Oh, sorry.
Rorschach? How do you say it?
Roar.
I have no idea how to say it.
Roar.
I was a psych major. I
Noah's
should probably
Ark.
know this.
No,
Noah's Ark.
Right.
Two giraffes.
Rorschach. All right. Pokemon Go.
Yeah.
Us 3 at this park near Chris's old house, walking around,
Our first episode.
gym battling. Do you guys remember that?
Yeah, great time.
Pokemon
fun.
Go, beautiful memory.
Yeah.
Like I was thinking about
Great one to start with.
Such a great isolated memory.
I was thinking about
in our minds.
HQ trivia today. I was
God.
like, remember like that was big for a few weeks.
Yeah.
Still love it. Pokemon Go was not only huge, but it spawned our podcast essentially. Like
Amazing.
Yeah, like
it's beautiful.
We had the episode stored up. I think Pokemon Go wasn't the first one we recorded. I do think we recorded basketball.
Yeah.
And I think we recorded basketball before that. And I remember thinking like we need like Pokemon Go
'Cause
was
it might
the
be out.
yeah, it was
kickstart
like
to
a
our
good,
podcast.
perfect
Like,
clickbait.
we
The
knew
thing is-
immediately it was not going to last. We just were like, this is a good big hobby right now. And the other thing is that so many people were like, what the heck is this? You know?
Yeah.
So I feel like it was an easy start. For
It
us
was
to
like
just be
how
all right, let's
we
do it.
started our podcast just as the podcast boom was starting.
Mm-hmm.
We released that we probably recorded that Pokemon Go episode just before the Pokemon Go boom
and then we
started
released
happening.
it like near the end.
Yeah,
basically.
probably.
I remember saying like we got to get it out now.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so that was one, and I just remember that memory I have of like being in that park and like talking to people, and they're like, "Oh, what team are you on?" And we're just like
Yeah.
joking around, like
It's
it was
beautiful.
just fun.
I hope something like that happens again
Yeah,
soon.
it was so like mine. I remember Alex told a story in the episode about how like he was outside like trying to catch a lapras, which is like a really rare
Like,
one,
rain
and it
on
started
us.
pouring,
Yeah.
and you were just like, "No." Like,
Yeah.
so
I think
great.
that might have been our first "What's on Your Mind" section, though, even if it wasn't our first recorded. Because remember, I just remember them being like so on the spot, like we didn't know what we were going to talk about that episode.
Yeah,
That's true.
yeah, it was
Very
great.
funny.
All right, another one. This is a small one. Very stupid. I don't even know why this is on there, but the conspiracy theories episode when Chris talked about rubbers.
Rubbers.
Oh,
It
yeah, I
is
know you're
probably the like first time that I felt like we were like
I was like,
fully
ooh, this
in
is a
on the
funny-
podcast.
Yeah.
Like it's
Because I think I just said the word rubber.
But other people probably won't.
I don't really remember the details.
remember
I just
what we're
remember getting
talking about.
ridiculed.
It was like
you
no.
were gonna
it
say,
was
like,
Listen
bunch
back to
of-
the first conspiracy theory.
yeah. We need to get the website. I'm gonna try to get my brother
Try
to get
to.
that going right away so that everyone can.
That's
like,
a
look
clip.
back
That's on our
these.
YouTube channel too. Remember we used to
Oh,
do like those.
yeah,
clips?
yeah.
yeah.
Oh yeah, and then the other great one was the Red Sox game story. When man, I want to listen to that again too.
Wait, what?
Remember at the Red Sox game, like Chris was trying to find our seats or something, and we were like, made
Chris
like
is in the bullpen.
Yeah, Chris in
Oh,
the
yeah,
bullpen,
yeah.
like
That was
he's
good.
out on the field, like, Fenway Frank in his mouth. Yeah,
That was funny.
but anyway,
That was so
that,
awesome.
that is.
yeah, let's listen to
Ooh.
that after this. Anyway, yeah, but Chris made this joke basically about that. He's like, I remember he's like, he had some medals, he had some rubbers, and Alex was like, ooh, rubbers.
Yeah, we're like, ooh, the Mile High Club.
yeah.
Bad
And it
joke.
was just like, we were just like totally lost at laughing. And that was just great.
You're
I
right,
don't
because
know.
that was like episode 5.
It was
right?
episode 5. It was like the first time that we had truly been like,
We would have never like improvised a line. Like,
exactly.
That was, like,
we were
not that
still
that
at
was
that
an-
point trying to like not be ridiculous. And
Yeah.
that was like the first time where we like totally lost it.
Yeah.
It was great. There's definitely been more since then. But I can't remember. Like I just remember that one like,
Yeah.
very well. I do want to go back and listen to all of them again.
yeah.
I mean,
wait,
I
what
think
about
I'm gonna
the,
get some time, then I will.
I'll let you keep going.
No, what?
I was gonna say the Jeff Fox.
I was gonna say that's the only other one I remember. I think it's
Yeah.
recency bias. But the Jeff Foxworthy thing for at least for
I don't
us,
even remember what episode
might have
it
been the
was.
funniest moment of
I
our,
remember
of
the
our podcast.
Snapchat, the Snapchat episode. I think.
But we had
something
some
on
good
that.
Evan Spiegel jokes.
Yeah, that's
in
what
that
I was
one.
thinking
Yeah.
of. Yeah.
The
I
Jeff
really gotta
Foxworthy
get
Oh
one-
wait, no, you know what was on the snap? Oh wait,
What?
no, I think this was moving.
Whoa.
Remember we were talking about you Snapchatting like naked?
Oh yeah, that was in moving. Yeah,
Oh yeah.
that was great. Yeah.
Let's keep doing the podcast.
Yeah, and sorry.
That was. I truly think season 2, because that was the first
Oh,
episode
yeah.
of season 2, marked like a. This is gonna. It sounds weird talking about this,
Yeah.
but whatever.
Go for it.
Like a increase in quality of our podcast.
Mhm,
I think
yeah.
just starting off talking about whatever like helped us loosen up.
No
Yeah.
doubt.
And then
We
like,
were.
by
'Cause
the
it's
time we
tough
got
to be
into
like,
the podcast.
And we
I'm
took-
Chris,
we took-
and this podcast is about.
Yeah.
We took a
chess.
month
Yeah.
off, so we were like really itching to get back
Yeah.
to like we were just like, all right,
It's
we
like
gotta
I
do
just
this.
remember after that.
Okay, so the
Sweet
the
Sale.
Jeff Foxworthy bit is in What's on Your Mind full episode, May
Oh,
23rd.
nice.
I remember
Gotcha.
that. So if anyone wants to see that I remember thinking like that was so good. You might be in a casual relationship. All right. Anyway, next up, haircuts at Los Primos. I'm
Mhm.
just
Oh,
thinking
yeah.
how much can change in 2 years. Like that haircuts episode, I decided to go with Chris to the Spanish barbershop that Alex recommended. I've literally gone there ever since.
I remember
Truthfully,
Chris.
I have
Yeah.
not gone to a single other place.
Chris said, "I will never get my hair cut from a white person."
I did
again."
say that. Ended up not being true.
Classic Chris.
But I'd say my last 3 or 4 haircuts have been there. Maybe I'll mix it up. Who knows?
Now I went to Los Primos recently for
Yeah.
my last ever Los Primos haircut.
It looks bad.
It was bad.
I'm just kidding.
Bad
Your hair looks
experience. The guy was annoying the whole time. He was like getting sidetracked. and you know what? I asked him, "What did you do with the hair afterwards?" He didn't even answer my question.
That was a
Forgot
big
about
question
that.
from our episode. Yeah.
We talked about that. Oh, so good. All right. Another thing we've done in past 2 years. Threw up 3 times at 2 beer miles.
Oh,
Mm.
God.
Alex, you have 2 of those
Don't
vomits.
bring up the beer.
I had 0.
mile. My
0.
least
Yeah,
favorite
that's
part of
fine.
our podcast.
We should do a beer
that
mile
was
again
fun.
sometime.
I
Maybe
believe-
a Brooklyn beer mile for any of
No.
our New York listeners.
No.
Our very first challenge
Yeah.
was a good one.
And probably our only challenge.
Beer Mile 2 was a really funny idea because we somehow thought that would be successful.
That's more. I don't regret doing the first beer mile because I like trying new
I agree.
things.
2nd one was like,
Second
what
one
were
was
we thinking?
awful.
So bad.
So it was.
Yeah.
I threw up.
I think I
much.
threw up after 2 beers because I
Yeah.
didn't eat anything before.
I had that rotten chicken flesh beforehand, so that's why I threw up.
Yeah,
It
that'll
wasn't-
do it.
It wasn't the
Part of
beer.
it.
You just had a flu.
Talked about this one already, but getting Bill Clinton on the podcast, great idea,
Shout out
great
Bill
memory.
Clinton. Yeah.
What episode was that?
That
Oh,
was in
Running.
Early.
running, I believe.
Maybe
so
the
we'll
first
have
one,
to
right? Yeah.
get that.
I remember
website fixed so
hearing.
people
I
can hear
remember
that again.
hearing from a listener, or I forget who it was, but saying something about like, oh man, they got Bill Clinton on this one. And just thinking like, oh yeah, this person likes our podcast. This is great.
I remember early on when we had the podcast thinking like it'd be a dream one day to like bump into a celebrity in the street and like a C-list celebrity and just have them say like,
I remember talking
love
about
I Need a Hobby.
Yeah, I remember
Yeah.
talking about like, all right, if we ever run into someone, like try to get a soundbite of them talking about our podcast.
Yeah,
Different.
We could spit
yeah.
in, like,
So that we
that
can put
would've
it
been
on.
so
Oh
funny.
man, that's such a good idea. Next one I have is wine tasting, which
that was a great
episode,
in
but
its
more
day.
so like I just remember that day so
Yeah,
well for
great
some
time.
reason. Like we were all in my tiny room. Remember that room?
Yeah.
so small.
Like recording, we all
Drinking
drinking.
wine.
I still have the wine
I
glass
got
I
that.
got.
You bringing it
from
to
there. I think I am
Brooklyn? I'm
bringing
bringing
it.
it,
Yeah,
yeah.
nice.
I got mine somewhere.
Yeah, that just a great time. That is like a beautiful part of the podcast. Like I would have never gone wine drinking
Yeah,
up
Yeah.
till now.
for sure.
And I've done it since.
I'm so happy that we went. Like
I
it's
agree.
just a
It
great
was just
memory.
very, very fun.
Even
Like,
if we didn't have the podcast, it would have been a great memory
exactly.
regardless.
Yeah.
So that's why I have that on the greatest hits.
Mm-hmm.
What else? Became meme historians. That's mostly about
True.
you, Alex.
Yeah, I fell in love with memes from this podcast. So like
That
Yeah.
episode is one of the greats. I think that's like truthfully, it's like you're like an elementary schooler and you want to learn about memes. Like
I kind
listen
of,
to that
I
episode.
kind of, yeah. That was a fun podcast to like study for and like I was my
Yeah.
mind was being blown.
Those
Yeah.
ones were fun. I think
Whoa, David Epstein.
some
I
of
think I
the,
listened to that one, like,
some of the
three
most
ti-
fun
three times.
episodes were the ones where we spent time like researching something and then
Yeah.
because it was like you're excited to talk
like
Yeah.
about.
any of the research ones, like
Yeah.
the conspiracy theories or documentaries ones.
Yeah.
Cool.
All right. Next up, I have Hot Pepper Challenge, our
Oh,
video
God.
episode, and
Episode 1 or 2.
the Ghost Pepper.
Ooh,
the
the
hidden
Ghost
episode.
Pepper.
two
Ghost Pepper was brutal.
Yeah.
unlistenable episodes.
The Ghost
Yeah.
Pepper was bad, truthfully bad.
The
Ghost
Hot
Pepper
Pepper
was
episode
awful.
was fun. I
Yeah,
actually
that
feel
was
like
fun.
I kind of want to see that video again
Yeah.
because that'll be like
I don't think
cool
I ever
to look
watched
at
it.
in a few years.
The pepper one was fun because we thought one was gonna be like super hot.
Yeah,
It was like not hot
It was
at
like the
all.
hottest
Yeah.
one was like midway through. It was just called Red Pepper.
Yeah. Oh, it was
So
so
insanely
hot.
hot.
Yeah.
But not as hot as the ghost pepper. Ghost
No,
pepper
clearly
is
the Ghost Pepper
next
was
level
ridiculous.
hot.
Yeah.
Now, you ever
Yeah.
watch Hot Ones? You guys know Hot Ones?
Yeah, I
Yeah.
have.
I'm thinking about getting like a super, super hot sauce to have
Ooh.
in our next apartment.
Yeah.
That'd be a fun
Just
little,
like a fun thing to do every now
little
and
Great.
then.
gag
Like,
at parties. Or
Hey.
yeah, it could be like a drinking game thing.
I
Like,
used to do challenges for a living.
Yeah.
Let me try. Oh, help, Todd.
Yeah. Todd is Todd's moving down the street from us.
Yeah,
Unfortunately, we
thank
could
God.
not get rid of him, but we'll see him soon. All right, next up, went to Disney World once again.
Oh yeah,
Great.
I'm not talking
great
about the
memory.
marathon here, but I do think that the Disney episode is actually one of my favorites.
Yeah,
I think
another
it's top 5 for me. It
that was. I
just
mean, we literally
fun.
we took
Yeah,
the
great
show on the
time.
road. We recorded from Disney World. That was
Yeah.
kind of
Yeah.
That was awesome.
Yeah, and it was just a really like nice time. We had so much to say about all the stuff, and I remember we talked about like, oh, when do you think you'll go back to Disney World? I know none of us have been back since,
No.
but
I would go back.
I'm getting to
soon,
that point.
probably.
Yeah,
Yeah,
like we
yeah.
talked about like,
It
oh,
should.
we shouldn't go back for a while because it'll be too
Let's
recent.
maybe
or
let a
whatever.
couple rides reset.
And like, it's only been a year and a half,
I've
but
heard they
I
have
kind of want to go.
I've heard they have a great Avatar ride. That's like it's like really, really good.
The Last Airbender.
No, Avatar like the movie,
Yeah,
like Pandora.
probably
It's supposed to
coming
be
out
like-
in
it's
like
supposed to be, like, sick.
2025.
No, it exists.
Oh, really?
the rides
it's
is the
supposed to be
movie.
really good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But the Disney thing, that was like the true save it for the pod. Like
Oh yeah,
we were living
we literally ran a
together,
marathon and then
we're
just
like,
were like, we can't talk
we
about
can't
this
talk
until
about it.
I remember that. Yeah, yeah.
because oh, that was great.
It was a great time. All right. I have Minecraft on here. I think I put it on because it's one of those like just I felt like it was underappreciated. Fought
Yeah.
some creepers like
Fell in love with Minecraft again.
remember like
from that
I remember
episode.
playing. I don't think Chris was on for this one, Alex, but we found like a new mine, and we all went down and we found diamonds, but then we got attacked, and like it was just a ton
Yeah.
of fun.
Remember
Yeah,
being in the
what a blast.
Nether, like
Yeah,
me and you in the Nether, like all night.
that was one of my
favorite.
favorite.
Like, break
that was
out.
truthfully, it's like why I like play Fortnite sometimes is because me and you when we were in the Nether, we
Yeah.
literally had like a hour and a half long conversation about
it's
like
great.
our lives and
Yeah.
stuff
Yeah.
going on with us because we weren't like seeing each other super frequently,
That's
you know, and it was great.
I'm sure we talked about this on the Minecraft episode, but like these like not monotonous, but like mindless. Maybe that's insulting as well.
No, it's the same thing.
Activities are just great hobbies to
Yeah.
like do with friends and like talk about random
Yeah,
stuff. Like
that's why I
playing
think
chess,
those
doing
ones-
the Rubik's Cube, Minecraft. Like you just are having fun doing
Those
it,
ones
but you
always
can
got
also have great conversations.
higher
Yeah.
ratings for me because of that. It's like it's not about like for instance, one example of one that I am more down on is like skiing. Skiing's great, so
Yeah.
fun.
Yeah.
But it's like such a commitment. I'm not super good at it.
Expensive.
And you're like it is mostly like skiing is like it's like going to the movies, right? Like some people have an issue going to the movies alone, right? Skiing you can ski alone. Like
Definitely.
you're going down the mountain, you're not talking to anyone. You know what I
Right.
mean?
It's not a very social
Like
hobby.
skiing would be
So-
a bad first date. 'Cause
Exactly.
You're,
Terrible.
you're not communicating or anything.
So anyway, so I like that the Minecraft stuff, the Rubik's Cube, just
Minecraft
mindless.
would be a perfect first date.
Maybe meet in the Nether.
All right,
Ugh.
next up. Moved. We've all moved
Yeah.
multiple times.
Yep.
We're
since
moving again, all of us this
the-
weekend.
since the podcast
Yeah, I know these
started.
guys are moving out
Yeah.
of the city. I'm moving down the street.
Yeah.
I mean, it's everyone's excited.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We're
I wonder
moving
because
too.
it's funny because I remember giving moving a fairly high rating, but
We
now
all hate it.
moving
I hate
has
it.
stressed me out
Yeah, I
so
hate it
much
so
for the
much.
last month.
But
Yeah.
I actually don't mind this move as much. Like,
I agree.
Yeah.
I feel like I've been doing a great job planning.
Yeah.
Hey, maybe our next episode could be moving too, where we
Yeah.
talk about our
That'd be
our,
true.
Our
moves.
new lives.
Yeah.
Yeah. I was just saying that I put that on there because I think you touched on this, Alex. Episode is great. I remember you talked about the Italian woman living in your place.
Oh, yeah.
I had a weird encounter with her recently.
Yeah,
Do you remember
you
that?
did.
I like
You overreacted. You don't understand that she just yells.
I panicked. Yeah. So
Andrew,
like
Andrew, we went to the beach recently,
Mhm.
right before Beach 2 episode,
Yep.
Mhm.
and I'm looking at my window because Andrew says he's here, and I see him pull into my driveway in his, car that's probably days away from breaking down. It's
Yeah.
like,
That thing's not making it in New York.
and he goes to turn around, runs straight through my neighbor's garden, tears it
Not true.
out.
Not true.
That'd be funny.
She comes out, starts yelling at him like crazy. Now the thing is, you don't
I didn't hear this
understand,
story.
Yeah.
which I probably talked about in this moving episode. She just yells.
Mm.
That's fine.
Yeah.
You can't take it personally. She's yelled at me before. She's probably just saying hello.
Yeah.
You look nice today. So I say usually I just say thank you. You too. And so Andrew freaks out, leaves my driveway, goes down the street.
Yeah,
Wow.
I call Alex. So I had to go. So basically, I pulled into the driveway.
So I'm out
I
there
don't
with
know
my
why
beach
I did that.
towel
I really don't know why I pulled in the driveway, but
because it is tough to turn around.
I think
you would have
Yeah.
had to back
Alex
out.
wasn't there.
Kinda weird street.
So I tried to. I planned on going in and turning around,
Mhm.
which I ended up doing. But
You just weren't.
There was
planning
not
on,
room to turn around.
You weren't going to run
Yeah.
over the rhododendrons on purpose.
yeah,
course
so
not.
I didn't touch the lady's
No, you
garden,
did-
but
yeah,
it
you
was
were
like a
fine.
really tight. I probably did like a 9-point turn or 7-point turn, and all of a
I
sudden
counted. It was like 21 points.
she
20
comes
points.
outside and it's screaming at me in Italian.
In
And-
Italian?
Yeah,
She
that's
doesn't
why
speak
I got
English.
scared.
Yeah.
That's why I got scared.
She was
Did you
probably
understand
saying-
any of it? You speak a little Italian.
No, I mean I should have said mi dispiace. but
Yeah.
I-
Which
I
means
know
you look
that.
very nice today.
But
Would you like to play
I
Minecraft
just said
sometime?
Which means thank
and I panicked and left.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Scusi.
that was really funny.
Anyway, yeah. So that lady was in the episode too.
Yeah.
Great episode. Make sure if someone's helping you move, get them some beer and pizza.
Yeah.
Oh,
That's
yeah.
what we
Beer
talked
and
about.
pizza.
Truly great. Chris, in this time that
boy.
since you started the podcast, you learned how to solve the Rubik's Cube.
Hey, that's exciting.
Yeah, truly.
Got
good.
pretty good at it.
I got
Yeah.
halfway decent.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that was one of the because a lot of the things on the podcast we did, and it was like, all right, cool, that was fun. That was a skill I learned.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah,
It was
some
a takeaway.
things it's like we did it, and after the episode is recorded, we don't think
Yeah.
about it, touch it again.
Mhm.
Rubik's Cube is something that we did
Yeah.
It's pretty much a lifelong activity for
Exactly.
us.
Because not many of our hobbies did we finish. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
yeah.
Like you,
Like
at the time of
baking's a
recording,
good
Baking
example
is a good
too.
example.
Yeah,
right?
because this is our creation.
Right. Yeah. That's true.
Yeah.
I was gonna say
Bob
at the
Ross,
time
too.
of recording, which I think we've talked about.
Yeah.
You had like a 2-minute PR or
Yeah,
something.
and
like
it
that.
was like I also would forget how to do it.
And now
sometimes.
it's like what 2 seconds?
yeah, 2 seconds.
Yeah, it's insane.
I forget what it's 40 seconds or so.
That's good.
Pretty good. I haven't done it in a while, but actually, whenever I see it though in my house, I grab it.
Yeah, I was gonna say whenever
Yeah.
we come here to record,
I need to
Andrew's got his
get
laying
back
out.
into it. I forgot some of the OLLs. So like I was at Chris level, I like to call it, where like
This is
Chris
an algorithm-free podcast.
Yeah.
We talked about this.
whatever. Chris no, it never was. It never was truthfully. Chris didn't know some of the like OLLs, which is like
Any of them.
a way to get the final face of the cube. So he would just keep doing one way until
Yeah.
he got into a favorable position, basically. Anyway, so it really hinders your time. You have to get lucky to get a
Yeah,
good time.
basically.
Yep.
So I need to get better at it. All right, next up, already talked about it briefly. Did the whole 30. Very
Yeah.
proud of that. That
Loved
was
it.
basically like, yeah, we had this weird idea in our heads that haters were coming at us for not doing real hobbies and not dedicating.
challenges.
So we,
Yeah, I feel like the
decided to
three of
take
us
it
have talked a
seriously.
lot about our haters who we haven't really heard from.
yeah, it's like a joke, but it is
It's true.
It's a
Yeah.
classic thing. I mean, your life
Yeah.
is like. You think everyone's out to get you, but
Yeah.
probably not.
It's
You know?
kinda
It's just
hilarious.
like a classic
Yeah.
thing. Yeah.
That
But
was
that's another example. The whole 30, like people act like you're an idiot for doing this thing.
Mhm.
Like you just gotta stay true to
That
yourself.
was.
If
I also.
something you wanna
I
do,
also
just
want
give it
to
a try.
say,
Yeah.
if any of my coworkers are listening at this point in the podcast, I hadn't told anyone about it.
I called you guys all out.
So I
called
remember
you
like trying to
idiots.
describe to people, yeah, it's just something me and my friends are doing.
You hadn't told anyone about the podcast.
About the podcast.
Yeah, I literally said the same
Yeah.
thing.
And then eventually it leaked that like someone found out on a podcast.
It leaked.
It leaked.
It leaked.
And then someone's like, "Oh, that's why you did the whole 30. Oh, that's why you went what?" Like it was like,
Yeah, yeah. It's the same thing.
You're not really
I
that
could
interesting.
explain.
like
Yeah.
Chris was always just doing stuff with friends.
Yeah, Whole 30 was great. I will say, I think I've talked about this in the episode. Like, I've never got like more shit from like adults for just doing something that
Yeah.
I wanted
So-
to do. It
it's
was
so
so
frustrating.
weird.
you know, like dark chocolate's actually healthy.
yeah,
I
it's
know.
like, come on, dude.
I know it's that's what I mean. Like
Yeah.
this podcast has made me realize that everyone of all ages are idiots.
Yeah.
It's not just kids.
Yeah.
It's so frustrating.
Yeah.
But it was a great time, and I agree with Chris. I would like to do another round, and I do think that once I get a job and get enough
Just get
income
the
to
life
live
Settled.
normally, I want to try a Whole 30 adjacent diet. I
Yeah,
think
it's beauty.
it is gonna do wonders. I don't know, and it's not that hard. Like it's like if I was going out to eat,
You just need a
wouldn't do
routine.
anything
It's all about
crazy.
the routine.
But
Whole 30
making my own
adjacent.
meals, pretty easy. Whole 30 adjacent. All right. Next up, lost a bunch of money in cryptocurrency.
Oh, yeah.
Alex, at least so far.
I haven't checked in a while, but I'm sure it's.
You've
still
lost some
really
money.
low.
I could tell you, but hey, there's no need. Just leave it.
I
You're
said I'm
fine.
gonna leave because you know
Just
what we
leave
talked
it.
about in our personal finance episode.
Make your
Maybe
money
we
work
didn't
for you.
talk. Maybe we didn't talk about it. But
Yeah.
if you set up a fund or whatever, even if the market's crashing in the moment, you gotta have faith.
Oh, I should have put
And,
personal
like,
finance. We can
it's
talk
a-
about personal finance now
It's a
as well.
long term.
That was one of my favorites.
Long-term
when
investment.
you when you have like the Roth IRA, for example.
Yeah.
It's a long-term thing. You don't
Sure.
stress out if the market's crashing because in 30 years the market could be better than ever, or it could be
Exactly,
worse than
exactly.
ever, and you're
Yeah.
going to reminisce on this time. But you don't know. So it's
Yeah.
cryptocurrency,
Similar deal.
as
All right,
silly
let me
as it
see.
sounds now,
Okay.
it's the same idea. I'm trying to treat it as the same thing. I'm not going to look
So
at it for a while.
basically, if you started investing, we did this late too. I remember trying to get you guys to do it earlier. If you started investing right when we released the cryptocurrency episode, you would have made a decent amount of money for like a month, and
then
then you would have immediately tanked.
I was thinking about this the other day. I
But
think MoviePass
I got in early.
is having the same
Ooh,
trajectory
yeah.
as cryptocurrency.
Yeah.
MoviePass was like insane. Like when cryptocurrency
Insane value.
was popular, it was like going insane.
Probably
like,
liked.
everyone was hopping on. It was like, this is too good to be true.
Yeah.
MoviePass. Whoa, this is too good to be true. Now it's like jump ship when you can.
Yeah.
They're gonna charge you for not seeing movies.
You have to see at least 3 movies a month.
Yep. All right. Let's see what else I have here. Great one. Escape rooms.
Oh,
Once
yeah.
again, maybe one of my favorite episodes.
Thinking about that
Probably
today
my
as well.
favorite. At least maybe my favorite one that we did together.
Yeah, like
Yeah,
Activity
it
we've
was
done.
super fun.
That's up there with
together.
wine tasting. Like,
Yeah, I agree.
Same idea.
It's
Like
the same thing. Like
great
I
time.
have like this memory, such a strong, vivid memory of like that whole
Yeah.
day,
I
basically,
know.
which is so weird because it was just like a little
See,
thing.
it makes me
But it was
realize.
so fun.
I think this podcast, I've always felt like I've been the kind of guy who's like, all right, if I want to do something, like, and I'll like you said, you don't like to say things and then not act out.
Yeah.
Like starting the podcast.
Yep.
I think this podcast, like, there's people in life that will like say like, oh, it'd be nice to try an escape room.
Yeah.
And then never put the effort into doing one.
It
Never
literally
do one
bugs
again.
me so much.
Doing this podcast, you realize like that was easy to set up.
Mhm.
Going to wine tasting was easy to set
Yeah.
up, and it's a great time. It's well worth doing it.
Yeah.
So it's frustrating when other people are just like,
Yeah.
not that it's necessarily bad to live a life like that, but
It just
like
bugs me.
I would
It's-
not want
It
to
gets
live
under
my
my
life
skin
like
somehow.
that.
Yeah, it's just like I think that's just exactly what you're
Yeah.
saying. Like we have this standard where one of us will just say like, yeah, I want to do this, and then we'll say like, okay, let's do that. We'll
'Cause,
make
yeah,
time for it.
I think I don't mind if
It's
people
not that
don't do
hard.
it, but I think it's like.
That's what I mean. I don't want to say it's wrong.
But
to
don't
not do
don't get
anything.
me rough for doing cool things on the weekends.
That's that's exactly what I'm
Yeah,
thinking.
right.
Like, don't look down. Like, don't act like it's weird that I want to go out and do an escape room.
Yeah.
I just like it's creating a memory. It's
Yeah.
great. It's great. It's a fun thing to do. Why not?
Because like, yeah, I think like a problem that a lot of people face is like someone might just be like, oh, I want to do an escape room, and ask like one person, and they're just like, no.
Yeah.
Because I would get discouraged. I'd be like, damn, like,
Yeah.
you know, and that's fine to get discouraged. But like, what I'm saying is like we've all had the attitude where, and what I'm trying to say is, even if we didn't have the podcast, you guys would like if I said, "Hey, let's do an escape room,"
Right.
you guys would be like, "Yeah, let's
For
do
sure.
it."
that's what. Yeah, that's
Which
what I'm trying to
is
say.
all I'm getting at is like, yeah, that is like just a good attitude, and this podcast has really helped us do stuff like that. Like
Right.
Whole 30, I don't think I would have done that. You know what I mean?
I think like moving to another state, well, like maybe before the podcast, or if I wasn't the type of person who would just like do things that I feel like I want to do. I don't think I would have done. I don't think I would have done that. But
Yeah.
knowing at the podcast, like, oh yeah, if you just want to do something, like,
Just do it.
kinda
It'll
That,
make
like-
itself work. Yeah.
Ah, so good.
Damn.
Build, yeah, I don't
You
know.
could call
So
this
good.
a challenge.
The true
maybe?
challenge. Yeah, seriously.
You'll
you're
probably
telling
do
me,
some
Christ.
activities, find some new hobbies.
But yeah, even being when we're in New York, like I bet before the podcast, maybe I would have been like, oh, like I don't care about going to do this touristy thing or whatever.
yeah.
Now it's like, why would I not do that? Like I might as well go out and do
Exactly.
something fun.
Mhm.
Like even if it's stupid and he makes it look like a tourist, who cares? You know, it
Yeah.
could be fun.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. Let's see. Next one I have on here.
Like I'm not happy that we went to the Big E. It was an awful experience,
Mhm.
but I'm happy that we went to the Big E. you
Yeah.
know?
Mhm.
Next one I have on here is chess. Not much to talk about. Just
Yeah.
a great hobby.
Just a great
Still
hobby.
do it. A little bit less recently, but I want to. It's so fun.
I was in Boston. I sent you guys a Snapchat.
Yeah.
I was in Boston
Yeah, that was great.
around Faneuil Hall, and I don't think it was a real chess tournament,
Yeah, but I think they have like.
but there was just a
meetups
bunch of
together.
chessboards set up, and people were just going and playing. It was like, this is great.
Yeah, and I
Truly
know that's the
beautiful.
thing in New York too. I mean, we'd get smoked, but
Some of
Dude,
those
I
people
wanna
just
go.
sit there all day and play chess.
Yeah.
Oh, that sounds
I
fun.
feel like we were not good.
Mm-hmm.
Like we weren't the best,
I certainly
chess
was not
players.
good.
I'm up to 1,200 now. Did I tell you?
but
Mm.
oh, nice, dude.
It's
No.
not bad.
That
It's
is
not
good.
bad.
That's what I mean. Like
It's not terrible.
we don't see ourselves as good at being at playing chess,
Yeah.
but I'm sure we'd be fine.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm not good
You
now.
can hold your own.
I've barely played since the podcast. I do like the tactics a lot on my
Yeah.
phone.
Well,
But-
we touched on it in the podcast. It's really taxing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
All right. And then the last one I have is great weekly podcast that we've done.
Yeah.
Basically, just that like
Nailed it.
basically just
What a
that.
normal ending.
And the moment of truth. This was fun.
Yeah.
That's it. I mean, it's just like we've done it every week for like most weeks basically. I mean,
Mhm.
we've had our hiccups here and there, but in the end it's just been a great time. I don't
Mhm.
know. There's been nothing that I would say like cuz there's been times where it was like hard for us to record
Yeah.
and
Definitely was
yeah.
stressful at times.
it's stressful at times, you know? I mean, but so is
Once
anything.
once you get into a
Right.
groove, yeah, it was great.
Worth it though.
you go for it. Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah. Do you guys have any like last takeaways
Highlights.
for like
Should we
the
should we
fans?
get into ratings? I think a
I
quick,
remember-
just maybe more of just like a summary.
I s-
Let's rate it.
I still think juggling is one of our best episodes.
Yeah, let's do that
Juggling
first.
was
Let's
good.
say
Yeah.
do you have like a tier 1 episode?
a closing statement?
Oh, man.
And then let's give podcasts a rating because I have
Yeah,
a
I
feeling
don't
of
wanna
where
give
this is
podcasts.
headed.
I definitely think the What's in Your Mind Jeff Fox story, the episode I remember being really good.
Yeah.
Juggling was an early episode.
Juggling was the I think the best of the first 50.
Yeah,
probably.
I just remember
Mhm.
it being really memorable and probably moving. I just remember being really,
Yeah.
really fun.
Yeah.
Yep. I would say let me see. I have.
I
some
can't think
written
of
down
like
here.
a best of the best though.
I think the original conspiracy theories is a classic just because of the rubbers joke and like
Yeah.
like,
The format.
The format.
Yeah. I wonder what you think. There are fans. You think we have a subreddit? We must have a subreddit. By now. Do you
One
think
follower.
if fans? I also feel weird saying fans, but people
Yeah.
that listen to our podcast were like in a room together. You think anyone would be like, oh yeah, like you know what I love is episode being vegan or whatever.
Yeah,
and then
I
someone else is
remember
like,
that.
yeah, that
I-
one's
I-
great.
or something- I
And
mean,
it's
I
like
think
a
about that.
collective best episode, like,
yeah,
by far.
like
I hope not.
how Runaway is Kanye's best song.
Yeah, exactly. I think.
Yeah.
Do you think we have a runaway? It's like the
The Kanye.
the
episode.
big the most egotistical thing to say is like, oh, what our runaway?
What's our
is.
runaway?
Yeah, I would say that conspiracy theories is really good. Juggling is really good. Disney World is one of my favorites. Vacations is really good as well. I remember thinking that was
just
funny.
looking like I think the ones that I like the most are the ones that we all did together, like yoga
Definitely.
and like
Yeah.
jigsaw puzzles. Just something that like
Yeah,
we
yeah.
literally spent a
Jigsaw
time
Puzzle was
doing.
fun too. Yeah, I'm trying to think of like
Remember,
favorite episodes.
Remember we did
though.
like '90s kids shows.
Yeah, yeah. That was
Oh
good.
yeah,
I-
yeah.
I
childhood
totally
TV
forgot
shows.
about that episode.
Yeah,
Home
yeah.
brewing, fun hobby.
Homebrew. I'm gonna get back into.
All right, but
homebrewing, I think.
you're getting ahead of yourself now. I feel like you're just listing the hobbies. I'm talking about
Yeah.
the
Yeah,
best
let's have-
episodes.
all right, let's get to ratings. Let's get to
Let's
ratings.
get to ratings.
I'd say if you want
So
to
here-
go back to our best episodes, conspiracy theories,
All the ones we just
juggling,
said.
All the ones that
Disney
aren't on
World,
iTunes anymore.
Probably.
vacations,
The beach too.
the beach too. Eh, maybe.
Every week, we rate our hobby on a scale from 1 to 10,
Chris desperately trying to keep us on track.
and we give it a yay or nay. We're not gonna say is this. I mean, we're gonna take a little break.
Mhm.
It's not the last episode. I
Not the
feel
la-
very
yeah.
confident that
Some form of I need a hobby will still exist.
Yeah.
there will be
Even if it's
something.
just the three of us talking in
even if
their
we
new
break
apartment.
out, you know how the Beatles broke up and they had like their solo careers.
Yeah,
Even if we have our own solo careers,
That's true.
You know,
I got some
we'll
spin-off.
post
ideas.
something about it on
Solo
our
careers.
Snapchat.
I need a challenge. I was thinking about that.
I need a challenge does not work at all.
It's just Chris
I'm just
dominating
so
every
tough.
hobby. You're just so good at everything.
Just
you
become so strong. So Alex, you wanna
I don't want to start. All right, I'll start.
closing remarks?
Another thing is a quick lightning round question. Realistically speaking, this is not a joke.
Mhm.
If we could get one celebrity, what's like the most realistic celebrity
Ooh.
we could actually get on our podcast?
Huh.
I think Joey Chestnut.
Why? We did talk a lot about it.
I think he could
Yeah.
get a. I think he's not like.
Hmm.
He probably doesn't have an agent. Like I think if he was in Massachusetts,
Yeah.
and we set it all up,
Yeah.
and he had free time, he'd be like, "Yeah, I'll do it."
I was thinking we probably
I
could
agree.
have. A lot of our listeners found us through the running episodes. I think
Yeah.
'cause that's one of our episodes. I think we could have probably done like a low tier professional.
See,
runner.
like initially in my mind, I was like, "Chris, what are you talking about? That they're not celebrities." But like Joey Chestnut is not a
yeah,
celebrity.
yeah. But like an Olympian.
We
like,
definitely could
Yeah.
have gotten. That's the same thing. Like
Yeah.
they probably just like would be flattered by the idea
Exactly.
of someone asked them to be on a podcast.
Yeah,
So it's like
I
they
think Joey
probably do it.
Chestnut is a good example.
Mhm.
Trying to think of like who else. I mean,
I would have felt really
probably get like
uncomfortable
less
being
than
with
that. That would
Yeah.
be a little easier.
Yeah, like
but
Tom Brady. That was
Yeah.
him. He's a local guy.
Maybe
right?
someday.
All right, I'll get into my rating. What are we rating? Listening to podcasts?
Let's just rate the
No.
experience.
Being on a podcast?
Maybe rate the experience. Talk about your experience. Like a closing remark. I'd say I think this is a
Chris,
good chance.
I'll,
It should not-
I'll freestyle
It
it.
should not relate to listening to podcasts.
I've always
But I'd say if you want to drop some
I
podcasts,
wanna
I, think
talk
this is a
about-
good time
yeah.
to do it.
I've always loved listening to podcasts.
Yeah.
It's been very close to my heart since 2011. I even think before that, I used to like download video podcasts like in middle school. Did you guys ever
I
do
did
that?
actually. Yeah.
I don't count that though.
Me
'Cause
too.
That's cool. Listening to podcasts
Do you?
is not cool.
Did you download Ask a Ninja? That's
Oh, I remember Ask a
yeah,
Ninja.
That's what I used to watch.
I
I did
So
like
weird.
Comedy
It's
Central.
like a
Like,
2-minute, like really stupid clip.
dang, was that before YouTube? You think?
I
Hey,
have
wait
no
a minute.
idea. It was. I mean, it was really old.
That's another really good episode. Is YouTube. I used to download
So good.
like Comedy Central would put up like 5-minute bits. Like I remember Aziz Ansari, who probably was not even that famous at the time,
Mhm.
had this like comedy bit. I guess that the Comedy Central podcast put out.
Mhm.
Maybe I'll try to find it. So yeah, great podcast.
Mhm.
So yeah, listening to podcasts always been important to me.
Yeah.
It's one of those things that you feel stupidly proud about because so many people like, at least back in the day, like when we were in high school, like thought it was stupid, but it's like you knew it wasn't stupid. It's like,
Yeah,
no, this
yeah.
is actually good. I remember my cousin telling a story about how he was listening to a podcast, and someone like took his head. You know, like a classic prank, you take off someone's headphones,
Oh god.
took his
See what they're
headphones
listening
off,
To like see what he was listening.
and put him on,
Yeah.
and he was like, "Oh no!" But like. That,
Just like two
you,
comedians
you
probably.
should never have to be embarrassed about
Yeah.
that, you know?
Yeah, it's just like a kid thing.
It's
in
such a
general.
beautiful like podcasts are so good. Recording podcast, making it ourselves
Terrible.
has been tough. Has not been nearly as good, let me tell you. No, it's been very fun, very taxing, very stressful,
Yeah.
but in a good way. Like
I agree.
Listen, we could have quit whenever we wanted to.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's the exact thing. It's a creative outlet, so obviously it's not going to come easy. Like,
Yeah.
Yeah.
like you hold yourself to a certain standard and you want your stuff to be good. So
Right.
that coming with that is stress and anxiety.
And the
stuff.
frustrating thing is that there are worse podcasts out there
Mhm.
Yeah.
that just have famous people on them, so
Definitely.
they
Yeah.
get a lot of views, and they go to like a studio and they put no work into the actual
Yeah, and they pay
recording.
someone to edit it.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's
to do all
easy.
this
Like,
But, like,
they have
that-
to go to the struggles of the early podcasters
Mhm.
like us.
Support your local podcast once
Yeah,
again.
that's what I mean.
But that makes me like so proud of us in general though.
Yeah.
Like to know that we have fans who do not know us and are like still listening to us is like
Right.
that's awesome.
Right.
You know, like
I
thank
know.
you.
It just gets me mad at those stupid podcasts.
Hey, I mean it's tough, right? It's tough.
yeah, it's just like a struggling musician or something.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah. Well,
Um,
we're not struggling.
that. No, but I mean, like, yeah, I guess I mean like the
struggle
same
is-
level
yeah.
as a musician. Like,
yes. Yes.
Like there are the Ariana Grandes out there who just go in, sing, do whatever they want.
yeah.
But then there are the no-name musicians out there who have to
Mhm.
like book a show or like book time to record, and
Yeah.
they have to do it all themselves, and it's tough. And I can relate.
Yeah.
I'm gonna give it. I'll give it a 9 out of 10. 9 out of 10.
Wow.
Wow.
All right. Shockingly low.
That's not
Shockingly low.
low. I almost gave it a 9.5, but I decided not to.
Yeah.
No, no, just kidding.
I'm definitely giving it a 10. There's no rhyme or reason about it. It's once again, I felt like it's been a way, it's like therapeutic. It's been a way to express myself. Obviously it's been good talking to you guys. Like for potentially like
Yeah, it's not. I disagree with
3
that
full
part.
days, maybe. I don't know.
It's been rough.
I don't think it has been good talking to you guys. Just kidding.
Yeah, the things I wanted to say are, I really encourage anyone to find something that, like, because truthfully, right, our podcast was about hobbies,
Yeah.
but
And you don't need to make a podcast.
You don't need to
But
make a
it's like
podcast. You
something
just
like
get a hobby like we have the hobby of podcasting, if that makes
I
sense.
think,
Yeah.
that's I think having your hobby be hobbies is
great.
a fake hobby.
No, it's great.
it's fair, but I think it's fair.
That's what we are at this
Yeah.
point.
I mean, especially though, as you're going into the working world, if you're like, it's just like you don't need to just be a blank. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
Like, I'm,
Find something that you like to do. And then the big thing is that we've said it many times on this podcast, even in this episode, do not worry about
The
or
haters.
just F the haters. Like,
They exist. I swear.
if you
Yeah.
love doing,
you trolls out
know,
there.
like some weird hobby that I've called weird or something. I don't know.
Going
LARPing,
to the
I
Big
feel
E.
like we've used.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
going to the Big E. That's another one. Going to the Big E, you actually need a new hobby. Like,
You need
that
to
place
go
is
to-
I might go
weird.
back
You need to go to a
Thinking about it.
therapist. You need to do that.
But like LARPing, for example, like I'm not gonna ever get into that. It's like a serious
Yeah.
hobby.
But if you like
But
it,
if you
hey,
like
go for
it, then that's awesome.
Eh,
Like I'm
within reason, as long as it's not hurting anyone,
Sure.
I'm
freaking
happy for
anyone
you,
out
like,
against the law.
Yeah.
continue to do something that you like to do. And just because you like it, like man, it just truthfully doesn't matter what other people are saying. Like, just find something for yourself that you like to do and just do it. That's it. That's basically my advice.
Yep.
Podcasting for me has been a ton of fun, stressful at times, but like I was saying earlier, looking back, like that Minecraft one, I was just thinking about having to stay up really late and edit like meticulously and mute certain parts so it didn't seem awkward. It was
Yep.
all part of the journey, and it's just a grind. Like, obviously it's tough. It's been so fun. I don't know. Like, I'm at a loss for words. It's just a great time
Yep.
that I've had doing this with you guys, and I'm just glad we started it before the boom.
Oh yeah.
Our stock
cool.
rose so quickly.
Yeah. So 10 out of 10.
Man, imagine if we started this
Yay.
podcast in like 2009.
Wow. That'd be
We,
great.
we would have so many more listeners.
We'd be too young.
They would have had to
Yeah.
listen.
Yeah, I'll say yay in the sense that
Oh yeah, I gave mine a yay as well.
yeah,
Yeah.
I love to
Yeah, I'll
keep
give it a yay.
podcasting, and like who knows like where we'll go next, truthfully.
Right.
Like we can all
The
do
podcast,
another
you mean?
podcast, like like us
Yeah,
in general.
probably
Like,
to
Yeah.
Squarespace headquarters.
like this has been, it's kind of just like this has been such like a natural start that I feel very easy. I
Dang.
feel like we can just do another podcast
I'm having a
and it wouldn't be
revelation.
hard. What?
You think we're gonna be in 10 years or so?
Yeah.
We're gonna be the Ask a Ninjas. People are gonna be like, "Oh wait." Like we were like, "Did you watch Ask a Ninja?" It's like, "Oh yeah, I think so." Like, "Do you know about I Need a Hobby?" I was like, "Yeah, I think so."
It's gonna be like a different form of podcast, just
Yeah.
like celebrities' inner monologues
Yeah.
all day, just their
Like
thoughts.
I'm wondering, what are Ask a Ninjas up to right now? He probably has a family or whatever.
Yeah.
Do you think anyone will ever be like, I wonder what Todd's up to right now?
Todd, any thoughts?
Like has a family. Sorry, a second
Yeah.
family. He's already
Sure.
got a family.
Yeah. I'll close it off.
Yeah,
So
go ahead, Chris.
I think like I remember when we first had this idea, thinking because I think if I remember correctly, the first day we recorded was maybe like the first day of my job or like something like that.
It was probably similar.
That was another thing.
it was right around
Like
that time.
we both graduated college,
Yeah.
started working, so it's already like this weird phase of your
Yeah.
life where you're like very independent,
Mhm.
and we also started the podcast at the
Yeah,
same time.
it was like
Yeah,
a crazy time. I like moved
very
back
strange
home, was
transition.
trying to figure out like where I was going to live next, and like
Right.
had a lot going on. But I was like, yeah, why not? I'll try it. You know, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
And quickly liked it. Like I think when I started, I didn't know like it's the kind of thing like like you don't know when it will end or how long it'll last.
Yeah.
Yeah,
But like I don't know, it was the kind of thing that like quickly realized like this is the kind of thing that we can do for a while, and it doesn't need to like when we started. I think we thought it was going to be like, oh well, we'll spend a whole week doing a hobby.
Yeah.
I think I'm kind of glad that it like we did episodes where we did that.
Now we put no effort into
Yeah.
our podcast.
But I think it made it more fun. It
That's
just
not
like
true.
opened it up to just like we can just talk about whatever we want.
Yeah,
And I think another benefit is just like it forced like I mean the three of us hang out on the week. It's not like this is the only time we hang out.
Yeah,
but
yeah.
sometimes it is because you know
Yeah.
we get busy. So
Yeah,
it's like
definitely.
I think it's been a good way to
it's been
force us to see each
helpful
other.
for
Yeah.
that, and it's been like I don't know. It's just
Mhm.
like been so ingrained in our schedules that
Yeah.
there's nothing like weird about it.
Because I talked
you know?
about it in the Making Friends episode, but I'll go months without talking to one of my like best friends
Yeah.
just by accident.
Yeah.
I never do that with you guys because of this.
Yeah, and like
been a plus.
even doing the hobbies as well,
Yeah.
like not even recording.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I'd say like early on, like it was kind of like tricky. I feel like we ran into like issues because I don't know if a lot of people realize this, but like for a while, me and Alex were living kind of close to each other. Andrew was living an hour and a half away.
Yeah.
And we'd meet up like every few weeks to record like 3 episodes.
Yeah.
Which
Ugh.
was like a grind.
I was
Yeah.
thinking about that.
The first summer was so easy. You know, it was just like, oh yeah, we're all
Yeah.
kind of like, we're working. But
and we
it's
all had
chill.
like different schedules, so it was
That's
tough.
true, yeah, because you worked mostly
Yeah,
nights at the
it
time.
was fun.
Yeah.
Because you were
Mornings.
working like
And you were a student, so it was like
yeah, I was a
you
student
were
far away.
Weird hours, yeah.
You're working 9 to 5, Chris, and Alex had like any other time.
Yeah.
basically.
You mostly worked what, like 4 in the morning to
yeah,
9,
pretty much.
and then nights.
So it was just like tough, but that's
Yeah.
the thing. Like once again, it's
Like
like
the most impractical way to start a podcast
exactly,
ever.
but,
I-
but
yeah,
we
maybe
did
you-
it,
yeah.
and it's like not even. It's like it's nothing now.
Yeah.
You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like you can do it. Luckily I had 2 co-hosts that were equally as committed as myself, and
Yeah.
that's
Yeah.
what got
Well,
it
hey,
done.
I only gave it a 9.
That's-
I'm not gonna make it.
Well, I'm going to give it a 10 out of 10,
Yeah,
yay.
for
Podcasting
sure.
straight.
You guys are too eager with your 10 out of 10s. We're talking disc golf, catch over here. It's not on the same level of those
Yeah.
great hobbies.
Yeah. If we ever do another podcast, I think it has to be something with a rating system ingrained,
Oh,
just
yeah.
to give that
I
opportunity.
was thinking
for
of
us to get
doing
one.
a podcast just about rating things. Like you start the podcast and all it is talking about the yays, the nays, the positives, the negatives. You could talk for hours about that.
the yays and the nays. That's a good one.
You know?
Oh, that is
Yeah, we'll talk
good.
about this later.
Oh, I don't
Yeah,
want to
don't
start.
give away
I don't
our
want to
ideas.
start this podcast.
Yeah.
I just think it'd be a good,
Yeah.
like we said, you have to have some structure.
Yeah.
That builds structure into
Mhm.
talking about any
Definitely.
topic.
Definitely. What are you thinking? We went pretty long. You think we should wrap it? I know we got a theme song. Maybe we close out on the theme song. Thoughts?
I feel like we should do what's on
Should
your
we
mind.
do what's on our mind for last
We
time?
might as well
I
make it
think
a
we
long
should.
episode. We
Yeah.
just
Alright.
we literally said like
That's true. This
we
is our
like
last
the
one.
what's on your mind segment.
Yeah,
That's
we
true.
should do what's on your mind. Who
That would
cares
be a
what's
tough
on?
way to close it. So we'll get into what's on our mind every week. We've gotten a theme song. I mean, 100 episodes plus. Thank you for still sending them in. It's amazing that like a unique one each week.
Yep.
That's true. Yeah.
This
Different listener,
one
too,
we
most of
wanted
the
to
time.
close with one
Close to home.
close to home. Listener, hopefully listener, because he edits the dang thing. Todd sent this one, and it's something he said he just cooked up. He made it a week or two ago. If you want to play it.
Wait, Todd just tapped on my shoulder. He said he whispered in my ear. He said the song was actually co-written by Bruce S. himself.
Oh, that guy got us again.
That's good. Decent song.
We made it the whole episode without talking about our man Bruce S. Way to go, Alex.
Great throwback. So what's on your mind? This is a section where we talk about what's on our mind. We brought it up before. Just a little time to gab a bit.
Yep.
Not that we haven't done that for an hour and a half, but let's keep going.
Mhm.
Alex, what's on your mind?
All right. This is gonna be this is not an audio format. What's on your mind? So
Yeah.
it'd be better for visual. But maybe you guys could describe what I'm doing. What is this? It's something that you guys will certainly recognize, but I don't know the history of it. I don't really know the meaning of it, even though like you kind of get it when you see it.
Yeah.
And I don't like. It's just weird that everyone knows what it is, but no one knows anything else about it. It's this thing.
Ooh.
Oh, yeah.
You know that? Someone describe it. It's like a full-bodied middle finger.
Can you do it? Can you do it again for the listeners? He
I don't know.
basically just slapped his bicep, but while
We're like
putting
making
a fist in the
fist.
air.
Yeah,
I
what
thought
do
that
you-
was like. I thought that had to do with like a. I don't know.
I think when I was a kid, we were told that was like
It's like a middle
like
finger.
putting up
right?
the middle finger in China or something.
Yeah, well,
Probably not.
No,
true.
no, that was.
But I
that's
think
different.
I think that's a recess.
What do-
rumor.
I want to look it up. I don't know what you would call it.
I have no idea.
I'm gonna look
either.
up full body middle finger.
full body.
I will. I feel like we're
Stand
doing
like
we're doing a
pencil.
bad job of describing it too.
Yeah.
It's like you.
you.
It's like you're
thrust up,
punching the
like-
sky.
like Tiger
Yeah.
Woods hitting
Yeah,
a
yeah.
putt, and then
Yeah.
you grab your bicep.
You're grabbing your bicep.
That's
That's
it,
perfect,
it,
yeah.
Just- yeah.
I
yeah,
don't
like
know.
what.
I
You don't
feel
know
like-
what it is.
Yeah.
You don't know a name to call it.
I feel like it's a more aggressive middle. Yeah, it's like a middle finger, but also I'm ready to fight.
like sometimes when I'm driving with a friend, and I might have done this when we were driving to New York
Yeah.
recently, and someone like cuts me off
Oh,
or
you
whatever.
called me a friend.
with my coworker, my colleague.
and someone like cuts me off, I'll jokingly like, yeah, I like to work some bits into my regular life, warm up for the
course.
podcast. So I'll jokingly like get road rage. It's not real road rage, I swear. But
Okay.
I'll jokingly go like and do that
Yeah.
with my co-pilot. But
Mhm.
I don't know what it is. or
No idea.
or why it's mean to do. I guess the same thing with the middle finger. You don't know why it's
Yeah.
just a sign.
Naturally weird.
I don't know. Because I did it
Great
jokingly on. Now this is gonna sound weird, but I did it like jokingly on my way here. just
To yourself.
Just to
with
see
me
what it
in the
felt
car. It was like someone like didn't cut me off, but they pretty much cut me off, but they waved as they were doing it.
Yeah.
So like I wasn't mad, but I was like, you idiot, and I was like
That's funny.
basically just like trying
joke
to
for
make
yourself.
myself laugh, which
Yeah,
is
I
the
do that
saddest
all the
thing you
time.
could say on a podcast. And then I was like, what the heck? What am I doing with my life and with my arms right now?
Mm.
Still don't have an
That's
answer to
it.
either.
Yeah. Any listeners at home, if you know,
Yeah.
Hmm.
let us know.
No
All right.
idea.
Andrew, what's on your mind?
All right, here's what's on my mind. First of all, quick aside that I wanted to say. I've been dying to say this on the pod. Keep forgetting. In the high school jobs episode that I couldn't make,
Yes. Oh, yes.
Alex
yes.
said,
This is another frustrating thing about the podcast. All right, you explain, then I'll go on my rant.
Alex said, this is not my what's on your mind. It's like a two-parter. Alex said, believe you me, and could not get a single word out of Taylor and Chris.
Yeah.
I was screaming in my headphones like,
Poor podcast etiquette. You guys have done the same thing. I can't
we
remember.
have.
The
That was the
beauty-
kind of thing that I literally had zero. Like, I couldn't even make up a
how
comment.
have you never heard that? Have you never heard people say, and believe you me, that this is the craziest
Probably because I
thing ever?
grew up in the 2000s.
It's just a thing that people say.
No, it's first of all, it's a very common phrase.
It is. It is.
It's peaking now.
And
I don't know.
yeah, I'm so glad you brought
Alex
this
is
up.
worked up. Yeah, like I was screaming in my headphones. Like I'm sure people.
I don't-
mean, it's kind of funny because people who listen to us regularly must at times like. For instance, in the vegan episode, when we said that eggs were dairy,
Yeah.
many people were probably
Also,
like,
you two said it. I didn't agree or disagree. Listen to that.
Classic
come on,
Chris on this
Chris.
podcast.
Yeah.
I didn't take a firm
standing
stance.
people like that.
Standing no ground.
cannot have a single enemy. Gotta make sure everyone likes Chris.
Yeah, the believe you me thing was so frustrating in the moment because I remember thinking like, oh yeah, everyone's gonna know what I'm talking about here. It's so insane that people say this.
It is. It
Got
is.
nothing but crickets.
Yeah, I
from
don't
the
really know.
crowd.
I mean, more or less, my only response would be the same things that you were saying, Alex. So I don't have an answer. Or
It's
anything.
just
I
like
just wanted to bring it up again.
I like how this is now. I have 2 what's on your minds in one episode.
Yeah, I'm gonna have two as well.
Oh, you're gonna do another one?
Yeah, I didn't. I was just. This is just.
Oh, what
like
the
a-
heck? All right, I'm
aside.
fine with that. It's
Yeah,
like
Chris can have two as we want.
it feels so.
I might do 3.
It feels so useless to say that. Just say believe me.
Yeah.
Why are you putting in extra effort to just confuse people like Chris who think you're living in the Middle Ages when you
That's
say
true,
something
yeah.
like that?
I don't speak your language.
I'm trying to. There's like other stuff like that too. I don't know. But
Like the full body middle finger. It's like that.
no. When people say like, and I says to him like, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
like, what are you doing?
It's these
Yeah.
weird like, I guess they're idioms, but
Yeah.
they're like
Or maybe
disguised
like
as real talk.
used guys. You know,
Yeah,
people say,
yeah,
"Oh,
yeah.
not
something
fan
like
of
that. Yeah. Anyway, here's my real what's on your mind. We met at a running camp. It's been talked about.
Yep.
We are runners at heart. I've finally recovered from my stupid injuries, and I'm curious what you guys are thinking. What are your future running goals? Alex and I have done a triathlon.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Chris did a marathon recently. What's next for us, guys?
I put some serious thought into this the other day.
Yeah.
I think I'm going to try to train for a spring 2019 marathon.
I was thinking I want to do it too. I think it's time.
I'm on the fence because I did the spring marathon. Didn't love like the training in the cold, but at the same time,
That's true. That's a good point.
I feel like it was a good motivator, so I'm still leaving it as an option.
It's just
I think maybe a late fall half would be a fun half marathon.
I
Some of
definitely
my
want to
friends
do a
are
half
doing that.
too.
Yeah, I would do a half in the fall
Yeah.
as well.
Even just like as something to put on my calendar to get in
I
shape.
think
Yeah,
I-
it's just it's good to have something to like motivate your training.
Yeah,
I guess.
exactly. It would be nice, Alex, if we did a spring marathon and then kind of like work that training into a summer try.
Yeah,
That would be
that's a good
pretty
idea.
cool.
Yeah.
Because I definitely want to do another triathlon. Had a great time with
Yeah,
that.
I think I should.
Yeah.
I gotta get in.
I am worried. It's going to be. It's hard enough to. I assume it's going to be hard enough to run in New York,
Yeah.
and I think it would be very hard to train bike riding in New York. as
Yeah,
well.
that's not
It'd just be
possible,
dodging
really.
dodging cars.
Yeah.
I think you'll be able to find a good running group though. I feel like that's a thing.
I
I
think
think
we'll be
that's
able to
that's a
run
goal of
pretty
mine is
easily.
to do a little.
yeah.
Once I get a job and know my schedule to
Yeah.
see if I can work in like a running club or something.
that'd be cool.
Even just once a week, once
Yeah.
every couple weeks.
Yeah.
If any listeners want to run with us, let us know. I feel like that would be wicked fun,
Yeah, me
honestly.
too. I'm staying in Boston.
Any New York listeners, we know we have a few out there.
Yeah, or
Derek
just like
Jeter, I think he's
Oh,
emailed in.
yeah.
Rudy Giuliani, I think said he was
I'm
going to do
talking
the
more about a
5K.
race, but
yeah.
if you want to go for a run with us, that would work too. But
Yeah.
if you want to run a race with us, hey, we've got options. That would be a lot of fun.
Yeah, definitely.
All right.
Cool.
Chris?
To close it off.
I liked my what's on your mind that he had more than your what's on your mind.
Whatever.
Believe you me, it was fine.
That is good. A monumental what's on your mind to end it.
Oh God.
Very big question that's been on my mind.
Let's
Please
give him,
don't have this be a trendy meme.
let's give him crickets like he gave me for the believe you me.
My question: what is the appropriate amount of pairs of shoes for a man to have?
That's a tough question.
Because
I have a
Two?
lot.
2?
I feel like
kidding.
you
Definitely
can get
not
away
2.
with 2. I have more than 2.
No, I think like 6.
Yeah, I
6?
think I have about 6.
Huh. And what
Well,
like
Some of them are
well,
like flip
listen.
flops and Sanooks. I have those too.
I
Those
don't.
really
like
count.
yeah.
They're
Well-
like loafers but cooler.
Oh, nice. That does sound cool.
They're like slippers, but
More like a
for,
cloth
Yeah,
material.
imagine like a beach slipper.
Nice.
Yeah,
That's
I
cool.
know,
That's
right?
cool.
I know.
Just gave him the full middle finger
that
because he's
motion, yeah.
lame. Well, you got to think. We're runners, like we said.
Yeah, that's one.
You got to have running shoes.
Yeah.
Some people have multiple pairs.
I
of
feel like
running
everyone
shoes.
should have running shoes. Like
Yeah.
that's good to just
Yeah, but
if
but
you just, it's comfortable, you know.
you could have running
Stability.
shoes and then like either workout shoes, or if you do another form
That's
of
true.
workout,
Yeah.
you can throw another.
Because
in
I guess
there.
I have running shoes, shoes that I wear at the gym. Sometimes they're interchangeable, and then rock climbing shoes.
rock climbing
now.
shoes. Yeah.
Yeah. So that's,
And your work shoes, I assume.
yeah, and I have
then
I
you
think
go
3
on-
pairs of
yeah.
work shoes.
Oh, you're counting rock climbing shoes?
I guess I don't know. Do I
Yeah.
count cleats?
I know you're right. You're
I
right.
don't have 'em.
Well, first
I
of
got
all,
cleats.
I think you're. First of all, how is this monumental?
Uh,
Second of all, do you think? I mean, is there a number that's too high? I
don't know,
think people would really
'cause
judge as
here's-
long as it's not like insane.
Because I would say, like,
45.
I'm moving right now. The place that I'm in currently, I have a bad shoe setup. I just kind of have them in a big pile.
That's what I do too.
Yeah,
I'm
same.
thinking about
Sucks.
getting a shoe
I
rack.
think I need a shoe
I
rack.
actually was thinking that too.
Nice.
You know what's funny when Alex sent us something on Craigslist, and I like never check Craigslist, and I was like, oh, I'll take a look on Craigslist, and it was like the cheap like foldable shoe organizers. It was like $3.
Oh, yeah.
Like
Yeah.
I was like, oh, I
That's
won't
great.
get this on Craigslist, but that's great. Like
Yeah.
you hang it
Yeah.
in your closet.
Yeah,
you
I know
just put your
exactly
shoes
I might
in,
get one
like,
of those because
That's just like ideal, I think.
It's just nice to have little upgrades.
Yeah.
You know, like,
Yeah.
that's a little upgrade.
I was saying my new apartment. I want to make it like as like ergonomic as possible. Like I want to like have shelves and stuff.
Yeah,
I don't have
yeah.
any of that right now. But going back to the shoes, I don't get how the people have like 50 pairs of shoes.
Yeah.
I know. So here's what I'm thinking. I got boots,
Yeah.
winter boots. Then I have like 2 pairs of like nicer shoes that are like work shoes.
Yep.
Then I've got running shoes, rock climbing shoes. I've got hanging out shoes. I've stole Andrew's Sudokus the other day. So I have those.
Sudokus, actually. They are
I'm
cool.
sure I have a few more from there.
Yeah.
But that's already at 6.
That's all. Yeah.
Is that too many?
I think 6 is a good number. There was a period of time like in college. I feel like I had 2.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. In college, yeah.
2 plus like those black shoes of a suit that I wore once.
Yeah. My funeral shoes, maybe.
Yeah. Yeah.
Do you think people would judge you if you wore the? Do you wear different shoes to work? Like, would you wear on Monday wear like brown shoes, then wear black?
I think
shoes?
I have 3 pairs of shoes I wear to work.
And do you think people would be
One
like,
of them,
"Really?"
one of
Wow.
them got run over by a car though.
Yeah,
as I
we've
told the
talked
story
about
on
that,
the
yeah.
podcast.
Do you think people would be like, "Oh, Chris is wearing the same shoes every day"?
I don't know.
I like plan on doing that.
I know, I
I
kinda-
only have 2 pairs that are like
Yeah.
acceptable.
I only have
so.
2 as well. I just got
But
some
then
new ones.
I get kind of
actually, by
nervous.
the way.
I got
Oh,
new
nice.
ones recently, and I got a couple compliments on them. So now I'm thinking,
We've talked
oh
about this
god,
on-
like
we've talked about
people
this
are
on the
aware of
podcast.
these shoes. Like,
Yeah.
can I wear them like twice a week, 3 times a week, or are they just gonna be like, oh yeah?
You could
I know,
What
I
are
know,
you
it.
talking- Do
I know.
people
it.
really care about
No.
your outfit?
I think you could certainly wear them twice a week.
Yeah,
not
no,
like
I definitely can.
I definitely think you
Underwear.
could wear them 3 times a week.
it's just shoes.
Yeah.
I think maybe you could wear them 5 times a week and be fine. I wouldn't, unless they were crazy
I haven't gotten
shoes.
any compliments about my underwear.
Wait, is
Well,
this a real
rightfully
thing?
so, Chris.
You shouldn't wear the same pair of shoes every day.
No,
I know,
no,
this
no,
has
that's
turned
fine.
Now I'm confused.
You can do whatever you want.
As long as they're fine.
At
like,
work, I'm saying at
Yeah, yeah.
work.
No, yeah, that's fine.
As long as they're like you said, we've
If,
talked about
if
this
they're
before.
like a bright pink shoe, maybe don't wear that one. Maybe that comes out of the closet every few
That's what I was
weeks.
gonna say. If it's like an extravagant shoe,
Yeah.
you can't wear that 5 days.
Depends
in
on the
a
work,
row,
too.
'cause Then it's weird.
Yeah. Okay. Good
Cool.
to know.
All right. So 6.
Turned out to be monumental.
6 is the answer.
All right.
All right.
Should I hit him with the plugs?
We should give shout outs to
Oh,
our,
shouts
our
to some other
faves.
podcasts.
And our favorite listeners. I mean,
Oh, yeah,
people
favorite
that
listeners.
people that have
Oh no,
backed us up. You know.
Yeah,
I'm afraid we're gonna forget people.
that's true.
We probably will.
Yeah,
but
maybe I'm nervous.
hey.
Maybe
I don't know
how
if
about
we
we
should
put
do
in the
this.
description? Maybe that's easier. No, that's
Are
weird.
you kidding me?
Yeah.
No.
Let's just give a vague shout out. Thank
Yeah.
you to everyone who's listened.
Yeah.
All right.
I like that.
I don't
That's
wanna
fine.
forget people.
Everyone,
You're right,
yeah, I
you're right.
agree.
You
know who you
know
are.
who you are.
You know who you are.
Yeah,
'Cause we probably should have prepped
Yeah.
a list.
Rudy Giuliani, Derek
Derek
Jeter.
Jeter.
If you supported us from day 1 or day
No.
700,
No,
and-
no.
Only
Just
day
day
ones.
ones.
Okay, you're right.
I don't care about
Still
our
ride
new
with my day
listeners.
ones.
We appreciate you guys for having sticking it out this far with us. Obviously we are taking a break from weekly content. we'll be on hiatus.
Yeah.
We will be continuing to
Stay subscribed on iTunes.
yeah to
Yeah.
And
update
Snapchat.
every now and then.
And Instagram.
And
Twitter.
Yeah.
because I mean, I don't know. Once again, like it's cool to just talk to you guys about our lives,
Definitely.
and
Maybe we'll try to get more active on Snapchat at least.
Yeah, I was
we
gonna
could
say,
we could do
yeah.
that now.
I think it'd be
That's
nice
more
to do
time.
like a What's in Your Mind segment just on Snapchat. Like if there's
Ooh.
something on my mind during the week, I might pull up Snapchat
Yeah, I'm
and
into
tell
that.
the,
Yeah,
tell the
that'd be
listeners.
great. That's because it's a way to stay connected
Maybe
with
some live hobby shots.
the weekly
Yeah.
content. So yeah, thank you so much for being part of this with us. Because yeah, it's like
Crazy
these
ride.
people. Yeah, I guess whatever you guys said, no shout outs, but there are people I'm thinking of in my head that have been with us for a while.
We'll message you
Yeah.
directly.
and it's just
That'd be
nice.
fun. Maybe we'll write some emails.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's just nice. So thank you so much.
Yeah.
All right, Chris. One last plug session.
One last plug
for the weekly
We'll
content.
fix the website.
Yeah, I
And
think
then-
the website. Here's my hot take. Maybe not, but I'm hoping the website archive will be fixed by the time this comes out.
Yeah.
I don't think
Whoa.
it's going to be a major issue.
That
If
was
not, sometime in the next
monumental.
few weeks. But it's ineedahobbypod.com. You can find all of our episodes there from the
Mhm.
first to the last to
Mhm.
maybe future ones.
Yep.
And you can find us on iTunes, Spotify.
Well, hold on. You cannot find future.
Oh, yeah.
And you can't
It's
find the
the
first
future.
ones right now.
No, I
Well,
think you can.
there's
Only
this
find-
secret tab. It's just my episodes I've been posting. Social medias, I Need a Hobby Pod on all platforms: Snapchat, Twitter, Instagram.
Yeah, I mean now more than ever, right?
Yeah.
Follow us.
Cool.
All right, wait, can we all do it? Can we all do
Yeah.
it?
Well, what should we
What are we
say?
gonna say? See you next time.
See you later, alligator.
No, next week, baby.
See ya.
Let's say it. Yeah.
All right. See you next week.
See you
See you
next
next. Wait,
With an asterisk.
we got to do it again. We got to do it again.
Ready?
1, 2, 3.
See you next week.